fast food place, or they just have a to-go lane?
No, I mean it's a drive-through.
It's a drive-through, and you went to get a cheeseburger.
Yeah,
okay,
that's right.
All right.
And I pull into the drive-through. I order my food. They ask for a name for the order, and I gave them my name.
Mark.
They called you Mark.
No. The guy said, "How's your pops Homer doing?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh man, I haven't heard that one before." So, I was like, "Well, that. We're off to a rip-roaring start here."
Did you say clever or something like that?
Yeah, I said, "That's funny." Get to the window, and the total was like $14.94 or something like that. Almost $15, not quite 15.
What all did you have in this order?
It was a burger and fries.
That was it?
That was it. I hand the guy a $20 bill, and he takes the $20 bill and is fixing change, or like putting it in the cash register, whatever. And he turns to me and is like, "Do you want your change, or would you like to leave it as a tip?"
Yeah.
And your response was?
$5 and something at the drive-through. Right?
What'd you say?
I said, "No, I want my change."
Did you say it like that?
I said,
I think you probably did, Chuck.
I was like, I'd like my change, yes, please. And so the guy hands me back his change, or hands me back my change, and then sticks a tip jar out the window. And I'm like, what is?
He wanted his tip.
What is going on here? I'm at the drive-through. This is inappropriate.
The Chuck and Bo Show on demand is driven by the Fayetteville Auto Park. Catch up on all 3 hours with the podcast version on Spotify and Apple. Just search for the Chuck and Bo Show.
Previously heard on Chuck and Bo.
I just have, I imagine in your house. I've never been in your home, not because I don't want to. I've just never been invited. I imagine.
I've never been to your house either.
I don't know. You've been to anybody's house.
No, that's what I'm saying. I've not been invited either.
You go to anybody's house?
No.
Like anybody?
No one invites me.
Chuck's key to life is you don't come to my house and I won't go to yours. We'll just live out here in the wild together.
You're reading me like a children's
But I
story.
have.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I would resist the urge to drink this much.
Stop. I'm done.
You said a lot of good things there.
Well, I don't know if I said one good thing.
I met a guy last night. Love y'all to death, Jeff.
You mind if I share?
I'm looking forward to it.
The show of record for Razorback fans.
I'm in my Sunday school, and first thing he says when we hop in the car, he says, "What's heard on the Chuck and Bo
There we
Show?"
go.
It's too early for this kind of conversation. I'm still half asleep.
Here are your hosts, Chuck Barrett and Bo Mattingly.
I think it's got to be one of the greatest stories we've ever seen in college football. One of the losingest teams in college football history at the start of the year to now the national champions.
A century of futility is forgotten. The Indiana Hoosiers are the kings of college football.
I mean, did anybody really think when Carson Beck was lining up under center for that final drive, did anybody really think he was going to lead him down the field to a touchdown? I mean, did any of you guys think that was going to happen?
No.
It seemed obvious to me.
The shoe fit, the slipper fit.
That this was the way it was going to end. I mean, look, that guy was open too. I mean, I know the safety was coming over the top, and that's what allowed the cornerback to kind of drag there. But that guy was hittable. That could have been a touchdown there. But Indiana seemed destined to win it, but I thought Miami put up a good fight. I thought it was a good game. I enjoyed watching, and I didn't see all of it last night. Bo's on his way back. We're glad you're here. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been kind of battling the flu a few days. I saw parts of the game last night. I didn't see all of it. I saw the end of it. And there was not a doubt in my mind that Indiana was going to find a way to win that game at the end, because I just didn't feel like that Miami was going to be able to come down and win the game. How's everybody doing?
So far, so good.
Yeah?
I enjoyed the game last night. I wish Indiana had covered that late false start penalty that took them from 2nd and 1 to 2nd and 6. Kind of ruined the chances at that, but that's okay. At the end of the day, and I texted somebody this before the game started. I said, I just don't trust Carson Beck and never will. And at the end of the day, that was the right call.
You look at how the game turned out, and I mean the reality is it was those fourth down plays that in my opinion anyway, it was those fourth down plays that really put Indiana over the top, and Mendoza made those plays. He made great throws on a couple of them, and then he made that run. And, he's just a little bit better than the other team's quarterback every time they play. Sometimes a lot better. But last night, a little better. And a little better is enough in a game like that. And it was I just thought he was the difference.
Yeah, I agree, Chuck. And look, they had the better quarterback. I thought Miami's defense played spectacularly. I thought they got a lot of pressure on Mendoza. And at the end of the day, it didn't matter because Indiana's defense was up to the task too. And then they got the one key, special teams play that there always seems to be. There's always one of those plays, whether it's a big return or a blocked punt or a blocked kick or something that seems to sway the tide in championship games. Indiana got that, and man, the program with the second most losses in the history of college football has won a national title.
Well, and everybody this morning, boy, really, I would imagine a lot of people, during the game last night before they went to bed, said that's going to be us next year. If they can do it, we can do it.
Well, and I mean, why not, right?
Why not the Hogs?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying necessarily, although I know there are people saying that. My point is they've given hope to everyone in college football. If the losingest program in the history of the sport can turn it around in 2 years, anybody can do it. I mean, you can.
That's right.
And I read something yesterday, maybe last night, I forget. Don't say Curt Cignetti awakened a sleeping giant. There was no sleeping giant. There was nothing.
That's right.
I mean, there was nothing for him to awaken. There will be a sleeping giant at some point, and it will be of his creation. There will be a point where, Indiana's not what they are right now, where they're not sitting on top of the world. And there will probably be, history being what history is, there's going to be a point where Indiana maybe goes back to being what they were before. I'm not talking next year. I'm talking 10, 15, 20 years down the road. Now, the next guy that comes in and gets him going, he will have awakened a sleeping giant. Curt Cignetti created the whole deal, and it's amazing to me what they've done. All right, we're getting underway today, guys. I'm kind of battling today, and I ask you to bear with me. 877-377-6963 is the number that'll get you into the program. Brent is on the line. We're just going to go right to the phones. Brent, you're on the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
Good morning, Chuck, Bo, and Bart in studio carrying on.
Well, actually, I just realized, Brent, listen, let me just interrupt you a minute. I just realized I never hit enter the studio a while ago, and that's the reason I'm not on right now. I'll get it taken care of here in a moment. Go ahead, Brent. I'm sorry.
Yes, I just want to say that I have Friday, I don't know, I overslept and didn't get to listen to y'all, and I got a call from Coach Jeff Williams, and he said, have you heard that Eddie passed? And I said, I haven't. And I just wanted to pay tribute to Eddie if I possibly could. I know it's a couple days late, but he'll be so missed as a caller to your show. And Bart, I don't know if you remember this, but whenever Arkansas played Texas in Fayetteville the last time, I wasn't able to go to the game, and you and Bo found Eddie's number, and I was able to let him use 2 of my tickets for the Texas game.
That's right.
And that was much much appreciated and started a friendship with us that lasted 6 years, or as long as it was. It was when we played Texas at home. And I just wanted to tell you that I really appreciated that, and it started a relationship that I truly enjoyed.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Brent.
Eddie, thank you. Go ahead. Go ahead and continue. I was just meaning thank you for saying that.
Oh, yes, sir. And no problem. And tonight's Saturday, the basketball game, we just ran out of gas, Chuck. We just ran out of gas. We've got to get to where we quicker starts on the road, but we will remedy that situation tonight against the Commodores. I truly do believe.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game tonight. I want to talk about that here in just a little bit. Thank you, Brent. I appreciate you being up early and calling. We were not on yesterday, and so let me just backtrack for a minute. When we were on, I guess it was Friday. We knew that Eddie was gone, but we really didn't know exactly the circumstances. And didn't really want to say anything until we did. Felt like it would be really irresponsible to do that, so we didn't. Obviously, there was a release, 9:45, I think 9:40 roughly, on Friday morning. And I think I've got my days right. It was Friday, wasn't it? Confirming Eddie's passing, and so I've heard a lot of the tributes, throughout the day on this station, the station that many of you are listening to right now, television stations, the internet, social media, a profound impact. What I hope is that Eddie knew how much he was loved and how much impact he had on other people, how much joy he brought other people. And that's a gift. Being able to bring joy to other people is a gift. Not everybody has that. It's spilled out naturally from him. And I just hope that, I hope he knew that. I just hope he knew that. And I grieve for his family, and think of them at this time. And I know I'm not alone, and I'm not trying to say something nobody else has said, because this happened last week, and it's Tuesday morning, and that's not lost on me. But by the same token, I am glad that Brent said what he had to say, and I know that many have said other things, and there have been other shows, and people have made all kinds of comments about this, and all of them are certainly well deserved. And if you've got comments today, that would be fine too. 877-377-6963. I do want to talk about the basketball game. Brent brought that up. 8 o'clock tip tonight, Arkansas and Vanderbilt. This is a really big game, and we'll get to that when we come back. This is the Chuck and Bo Show. 6:14. Good morning.
You guys are part of my family. Everyone that listens to this show is just part of the Chuck and Bo family. We're building a community here.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Did you know Chevy of Fayetteville is the #1 volume dealer in Northwest Arkansas? That means nobody sells more cars, trucks, or SUVs than Chevy of Fayetteville. They've been a part of our community for over 25 years. They're supporters of our local schools and the Razorbacks. And they're the best after the sale. An award-winning service and parts department, a waiting area, complimentary loaners. So go see Chris Mark in Denver and the team at Chevy of Fayetteville, inside the Fayetteville Auto Park.
Are you looking for tough, reliable equipment from people you can trust? WT Equipment is your local family-owned dealership with 8 locations across Arkansas. And yep, they're big-time hog fans too. From Bobcat to New Holland, Hustler, Steel, and more. They carry the brands you know and trust to get the job done. Whether it's equipment or implements, WT Equipment has the tools you need, including a full lineup of Bobcat machines built for power and performance. Stop by your nearest WT Equipment today.
Oaklawn is here for when you want the ultimate escape, all in one place. Check check into the luxury hotel. Escape to Astral Spa, the only Forbes 4-star rated spa in Arkansas. Indulge at award-winning restaurants like the Bugler or the Oak Room and Bar, all before having the time of your life at the 24/7 smoke-free casino, where the energy goes all night. Here, excitement and luxury meet under one roof. Oaklawn Hot Springs. Join the fun. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I love a day or weekend at Big Creek Country Club in Mountain Home. The golf, the people, the hospitality, and the events they host always hit the mark, and members enjoy it all. State-of-the-art practice facilities, food, beverages, a big pool with a snack and beverage bar, tennis and pickleball courts, and they can even book you an exclusive fly fishing trip. There's no initiation fee, and for out-of-towners, a membership is only $185 a month. It's Big Creek Country Club in Mountain Home. It's home away from home. Kids, there's never a good deal good enough with a bad person. Still a bad deal.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
The Chuck and Bo Show on Demand is proudly driven by the Fayetteville Auto Parts. We've been talking about them for a number of years. The truth is, they've been Northwest Arkansas's premier vehicle dealership for really as long as I can remember. There are lots of reasons for that. Starts with great brands: Honda, Acura, Chevy, Toyota. And then they've got the largest pre-owned selection that you're going to find anywhere. Trusted names. And they're all right here at the Fayetteville Auto Parts. But what really separates them is what happens after the sale. You want to know your vehicle can be serviced by people you trust, right where you bought it. And that's exactly what you get at Fayetteville Auto Parts. An award-winning service department and an award-winning collision center, all under one roof. It really is your one-stop automobile headquarters. They've been in business for 25 years. That's a long time. Built on trust, relationships, top-tier service. That's how you stay around as long as they have. The Fayetteville Auto Parts. Drive with confidence.
Looking for the perfect light beer to kick off the new year? Flight by Yingling raises the bar for light beers. With just 95 calories, you can enjoy the crisp, refreshing taste of a Yingling, but it's a light beer. Grab a Flight at your favorite store or ask your bartender and take your beer game to new heights. It's perfect for the holidays or watching a game. Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
High school sports in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley have never had a bigger stage. I'm Melissa Orange, host of the Varsity Vibe podcast, and every week we'll be bringing you the stories, highlights, and moments that matter most to our communities. Don't miss a beat. Subscribe to our newsletter, check out the Varsity Vibe podcast, and follow us on social media for the latest scores and spotlight features. Get it all at varsityvibearkansas.com.
Hey, thanks for tuning in this morning. Hang out with Bo and me every weekday morning from 6 to 9 live on YouTube or Twitter, or catch up with the podcast version of the show available on Spotify and Apple. The setup is really screwy right now. It is a cash grab, not just by the players, by the administrators, by everybody. Everybody. And if I was involved in it like that, I'd be grabbing now too.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Well, we got basketball tonight, Bud Walton Arena. Razorbacks and Vanderbilt, 8 o'clock. Big game, home game. This was Cal last night talking about the game at 8 o'clock this evening.
One thing I'm going to tell you about Vandy, they're fun to watch. I'm not sure they'll be fun to coach against. They are fun to watch. And I'm going to tell you what else. They play as physical, body to body as any team in our league. They played Alabama. You ready? 60 fouls were called in the game. Should have been 90, but 60 were called. So what I'm saying is, if you're not ready to come into the bump and grind of this game, you're not winning. All right, who's the next team? Because that's what this comes down to. And I'm saying to the guys, yeah, it's us, but it's also you and the guy you're playing against. But it's gonna be cold. It's late. And we need you in those seats.
It is going to be late when you talk about 60 fouls in an 8 o'clock game. I mean, that sounds like a 10:30 finish to me. But see, here's the thing that I don't know yet in terms of the SEC, and I think tonight is one of those games that maybe helps you figure it out. not just from our perspective, but from a league perspective. And what I'm wondering is how many teams are going to be able to win road games this year? You know, I can remember last year before conference play began, Cal saying, we're not going to win every game at home. The league's too good. And, you know, when you hear your head coach say before conference season begins, that, you know, we're not going to win every game at home, it kind of lets you know things are good. The league and the national narrative is going to continue to be that the SEC is down. That's going to be the national narrative because compared to last year it is. But I got news for you. Compared to last year, 9 out of 10 years are going to be down. Doesn't mean the SEC's bad. It just means that it's not quite as good as it was last year. That's a high bar and a barometer that you're just not going to meet very often. But he was right. Arkansas lost home games last year. Other teams lost home games last year too. Already, we've seen some teams go on the road and win. Arkansas has had to play Saturday road games against teams that lost at home earlier in the week. Arkansas went to Ole Miss and won. And with every day that passes, that's going to look like a better win because, you know, this is the same Ole Miss team that beat Georgia on a tip-in at Georgia, and that's the same Georgia team that ran the Razorbacks off the floor, at least for the better part of that game Saturday. So, you know, I'm not sure how all this is going to play out. I'm not sure if you're going to see a settling of home teams dominating the way you expect home teams to dominate. I think this game will, you know, have something to do with how we feel about that. And I don't think it's a layup tonight by any stretch of the imagination. Although I think, for example, a team like Tennessee is probably better at home than they are on the road.
I think that's right, Chuck. I think we'll see maximum effort from Arkansas tonight. Look, the Razorbacks, you know, to kind of go big picture with what you were talking about, or add to what you were talking about how difficult the league still is this year. If you look at KenPom, Arkansas has played the 9th toughest schedule in the country so far. There are a lot of college basketball teams, 360 some odd of them, and Arkansas has played the 9th toughest schedule. This is a team that has tested itself and that's going to continue to get tested in SEC play. But the silver lining in that is that starting tonight, you get 3 of your next 4 games at home, and you have a stretch here, Vanderbilt, LSU, Oklahoma, Kentucky at home, at Mississippi State, at LSU, Auburn at home, where you can really string together some wins, because I think the Razorbacks are better than every single one of those teams. You put them on a neutral floor, I think Arkansas wins. Now, Arkansas played Auburn at Auburn. They played the best game they're going to play all year. At home, at Bud Walton, that's not going to be the same story, right? This team plays exceptionally well at home. They just have to figure out how to get off to better starts on the road. But I would expect a huge effort from them tonight, and I would expect them to kind of start getting on a run. Look, I know they gave up 90 points against Georgia. I think they're starting to figure some things out on defense, and I think Cal's figuring out some lineups that work a little better both defensively and overall with this particular group. It's an ever-evolving team, you know, throughout the season. It's going to change. It's going to adapt. Lineups are going to change. I saw a stat about what the most efficient lineups for the Razorbacks so far this season were, and the results were a little surprising because they weren't what you would expect. And I'll find that, and we could talk about that some more later. I found it really interesting, but I would expect a big bounce back effort from this team tonight, and for them to have a chance to get on a run here in what's still a very, very difficult SEC.
All right, let's talk about the important stuff. How was your birthday, Bart?
It was great, Chuck.
What'd you do? I mean, clue us in.
Ate a lot of really good food. That was the most important thing. Yeah. Went down and visited our friends at DeLuca's.
Oh, you went to Hot Springs?
And I visited they have a location in Little Rock.
Oh, okay.
And
all right.
went to that one. Food is just as good. Got the cheeseburger. Thought of you, Chuck.
Yeah.
When
I thought of you often over the weekend.
I'm sure you did. So just had a big time. Like I said, ate a lot of really good food. Went to some cool spots and had a great time.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You don't look a day older.
Well, I appreciate that.
You did on Friday.
I appreciate that. Somebody told me yesterday that I really looked my age, and I was like, I'm not really sure how to take that.
Well, I'm looking at the screen right now. I know you are too, and I'm comparing Bart in the hoodie at 39 to Bart in the cardboard cutout. Were you still 37 then, or had you turned 38?
No, that's probably from, gosh.
Oh, okay.
6 years ago.
That's like a social media picture that you put up in your profile. It's like the best picture you've ever taken.
Well,
that
I don't know about
becomes
that.
Well, I mean, among the better ones is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So, but I can't help but notice that as I look at the cutout and as I look at you. I'm not saying time's taking its toll. I'm saying you look more mature. Now. Then maybe
it's all downhill from here.
Well, world weariness is coming. Yeah. Don't kid yourself. Hey, do we have those Mendoza cuts? Look, I really like Fernando Mendoza. I really do. I think he's genuine for the most part. But does he sound a little over the top sometimes to you guys in his post-game stuff?
He does. Do you
play
want
this
to
stuff?
Listen?
Yeah. Go ahead.
That's one thing about our team. We're always going to put all on the line. And, I want to give all the glory and thanks to God there. My offensive lineman blocked perfectly, and we're able to execute the team towards a common goal, have the Indiana Hoosier synergy to score, and then give our team a chance to win the game. I mean, it was going to be a physical game. And, we had to play physical, and we did play physical. We elevated it, and it's victory so sweet for everybody, for the entire Hoosier Nation, but also, it's super sweet to myself. I was a 2-star recruit coming out of high school. I got declined to walk on offer to the University of Miami. Full circle moment here, playing in Miami for all the friends and family. I can't thank Coach Netti enough, and Coach Whitmer and Coach Anna for taking a chance on me, and just give all the glory to God.
When you listen to it right there, it doesn't sound too over the top. Just when you listen to it. But you see all the body, the body language, the expression, the tears. And I know I probably sound a little bit cynical when I say all this, but when you watch it, there are times I'm like, dude, maybe dial it back just a hair. But now when you listen to it in soundbite form, it sounds perfectly normal. He is a great quarterback. He was the difference in the game last night. I don't know what he's going to be like as a pro. I have no idea. Nobody does. I'm sure there are people that think they do. But how could you bet against this guy? Because, I didn't realize until this week that his dad and Mario Cristobal were high school teammates. I didn't realize that. That's a tight-knit football community there. But I know last night had to mean you talk about your life comes full circle and you're like 23. I mean, how big is that?
Well, I'm sure that youthful exuberance and enthusiasm will quickly disappear as soon as he's drafted by the Las Vegas Raiders.
You think they're going to take him? You think that's what's going to happen?
I would imagine so. The Raiders owner and
so,
Tom Brady were at the game last night.
Were they?
So I have to assume that's the direction they're headed.
You guys keep up with this more than I do. Where do the Dolphins figure into the draft mix? And what do they have to trade to trade up to the number one pick?
I would have to look at.
I don't keep up with it closely enough.
They
to
probably
know.
top 10.
Yeah,
10
I would.
They won a few games down the stretch. They're the 11th pick.
Oh yeah, all right.
They're the 11th pick.
Yeah, they're not getting up to one.
No, they're not getting him. But I found myself kind of wondering that at the end of the game last night. All right, 877-377-6963. Those are the number. That's the number that'll get you into the program. Bo is, of course, in Miami, working for ESPN. He's on his way back today. He'll rejoin us in the studio tomorrow. So we'll continue on after this. It's 6:31. This is the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
I'm amazed at the number of people who think they're smart.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
First Security is about more than great banking. Yes, we provide the financial expertise, digital tools, and everything else you need when you need it. But we also go all in on local support with friendly professionals, plus convenient locations all across the state. Because we believe personal banking is better banking. Visit fsbank.com for details. That's fsbank.com for friendly local banking with First Security. Bank better. Member FDIC.
If you're having issues with your gutters or drainage around the house, you need to call Hog Trough Gutters. They're locally owned and operated with over 30 years of experience. Seamless gutters made on site, trenching and French drains. Plus, they're fully licensed and insured, and every job comes with a 20-year guarantee. Hog Trough Gutters services all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Log on to their website, hoggutters.com, to find out more. That's hog, Gutters.com. Chuck has thoughts. I want to have some coffee and let you guys roll for a while. This is going to be good.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Ryan Silverfield has my attention.
Oh, yeah? Well, okay.
Has my attention.
Okay.
Is this like the seal of approval?
Look at that.
Well,
Are we moving closer to the Bart seal of approval?
The man hasn't coached a game yet here.
Yeah.
But he has your attention.
He has my attention for what he's doing in the transfer portal. You know, when...
Y'all better put him in the Heisman.
Sure. Pay attention.
Look, when you see these initial transfer portal rankings, you expect them to change pretty rapidly over the course of the portal period as some of the big dogs in the sport, get after it and start signing players and everything. But when you look at what Arkansas has done in the portal, they've been hanging around the top 10 this entire time in terms of portal class rankings. 10th right now in the country, according to 24/7 Sports. 11th via On3. They're doing a great job in the portal, but what, at least it appears that way, right? We have no idea how these guys are going to play at Arkansas, right? But it appears that things are going well. Here's what caught my attention yesterday. Maryland transfer corner Lakai Rowland signed with Arkansas. Starter at Maryland, had a good year as the starter at Maryland. They're, you could say their best player in the defensive backfield. That alone is, eye-grabbing, and a starter from a Power 4 conference school. He visited Ohio State, right? And Ohio State fans were really pissed off that they didn't get this guy. And that he came to Arkansas.
At First Security Bank, banking isn't one size fits all. It's personal because everyone's financial journey looks a little different. From managing day-to-day spending, to running a small business, to helping your kids learn more smart money habits, or taking that big step toward buying a home. At First Security, you get the services you expect, the technology you need, and the real support of local people who live here, know the community, and take the time to understand what you're trying to accomplish. Life moves fast, and having a bank that moves with you makes a difference. Whether you prefer stopping by a branch, banking on the app, or picking up the phone to talk with someone who actually knows your name, First Security is there. They offer smart tools like mobile banking, bill pay, and mobile check deposit, along with thoughtful solutions like flex banking for kids, checking built for small businesses, and local mortgage lenders who guide you through the home buying process. Choose the power of personal. Bank better at First Security. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
You know, Oaklawn in Hot Springs is where excitement, luxury, and nonstop action come together, all in one unforgettable destination. The Oaklawn Casino Resort features a 24/7 smoke-free casino with more than 1,500 slot machines, plus blackjack, craps, roulette, along with great dining, live entertainment, and energy that goes all night. When it comes time to relax, check into the luxury hotel, enjoy award-winning restaurants like the Bugler, and unwind at the Astral Spa, Arkansas's only Forbes 4-star rated spa. And it's the perfect escape with Hot Springs National Park and beautiful scenic lakes just minutes away. And for sports fans, Oaklawn Sportsbook keeps the action going year-round. Bet on football, basketball, baseball, golf, and more. Even international sports with easy deposits and withdrawals all through America's best sports betting app. Oaklawn is your Hot Springs escape. Plan your visit today at oaklawn.com. The Chuck and Bo Show on Demand is driven by the Fayetteville Auto Park, with full replays available on YouTube and Twitter, or catch up on all 3 hours with a podcast version on Spotify and Apple. Just search The Chuck and Bo Show.
I was just thinking this morning on the drive in, boy, it's going to be nice to see Chuck, and I don't usually think that.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
All right, glad you're back. What is it, Tuesday? Gosh, the days run together
Allegedly.
right now. Yeah, that's what they say. I know for some it was a holiday yesterday. Hope you had a good day. Many of you heading back into the workplace today. There's a basketball game tonight. Bo's on his way back from Miami, and we are carrying on. I missed Cal's show last night. I've kind of been battling the flu since we got back from Georgia. And Tara sat in for me last night, and but we've got some of the sound from last night that we'll play as we go forward. But 8 o'clock tonight, Edward, you've got a cut from Cal. I think it was post-game Saturday, the one about handling the press, which I think is a really important thing, not just for Arkansas, but maybe some of the others. Could you play that?
I can.
They pressed. We were struggling to get it in, struggling to get it up the court. And then all of a sudden we were on our heels and they were being the aggressor. And that's who we wanted to be today. I wasn't sure whether they'd pick up and do that because of our guard play. And we don't turn it over that much. But he looked at it and said, you know what? This is who we are. We're doing it. And they did it. And they played well in it.
See, I thought that was one of the interesting things about the game against Georgia on Saturday, is that I kind of thought Florida would too, or Georgia would too. In fact, we talked about it on the pregame, that maybe Georgia might not try to do all the things that they'd been doing because they were playing a team that, looked to be a little bit more athletic perhaps at some of the spots. But, they did. They stuck with their knitting and exactly what they do, and they were pretty good at it. That's, I'm not saying Arkansas is going to, press the heck out of Vanderbilt tonight. I don't know. But I do think that, the timing of stuff like that really matters. And now Georgia plays a little bit deeper than some do, and Arkansas is not quite that deep. But I'll be interested to see how the defensive pressure's turned up tonight, I guess is what I'm driving at. And I think if Arkansas wins, whether it's on, full court, whatever, I think defensive intensity is going to have a lot to do with it.
Yeah, Chuck, to your point there, and I mentioned this the last segment.
Yeah, what are those numbers? What's that data?
Yeah. So this is a site. It's Evan Mayakawa's site, evanmaya.com, and it's got a lot of interesting tidbits. But one of the things is you can separate lineups, and you can look at individual lineups and how efficient they are on the offensive and defensive ends, and then in overall. So the Arkansas lineup of Darius Acuff, Malik Thomas, Billy Richmond, Trevin Brazile, and Nick Pringle is the second most efficient lineup in the league, and is the most efficient lineup on defense in the entire SEC.
One more time now.
Darius Acuff, Malik Thomas, Billy Richmond, Trevin Brazile, Nick Pringle.
Mm-hmm.
Second most efficient lineup in the league, and the most efficient defensive lineup in the league. Now, that group has only played, about 70-something possessions together. That's not, and compared to other lineups, that's not enough. But, you can compare that to other Arkansas lineups, and you can see where, maybe some of them aren't as good defensively. For example, Acuff, Wagner, Richmond, Brazile, Pringle. So there's just one change there. That's been one of the worst defensive lineups in the SEC.
I wonder, it's kind of like the plus-minus stat.
It's not everything, but it's an interesting window.
Right. It's I hear lots of guys talking about plus-minus and things like that. A lot of it does have to do with who else is on the floor for the other side, or in case of the plus-minus, it has to do with your own side too. And some of that stuff's out of your hands. But that is interesting. And it's amazing now. I was watching some NBA yesterday, and it's amazing about the analytics and how they can break it down. Now some of that stuff can get you in trouble, and I know we're talking about basketball right now, but to me, analytics. You want to talk about football? Let's go back to the NFL playoffs over the weekend and the Bears. In the first half when they could have kicked field goals, maybe won the game at the end. I'm not trying to change subjects here. I'm just saying that numbers can tell you part of the story is what I'm saying, and sometimes they don't.
That's right. It is interesting to me, a couple of other lineups that have been really good for the Razorbacks this year compared to other SEC teams. I mean, Arkansas has 3 of the top, I don't know exactly how many I'm looking at here, but 3 of the top 15 lineups overall in the league. Acuff, Thomas, Richmond, Knox, and Ewan, and then Acuff, Thomas, Richmond, Brazil, and Ewan. So it seems like Acuff, Thomas, Richmond has been a really good trio for the Razorbacks so far this season, on both sides of the ball. And I think we've seen that play out on the court as well.
All right, back to football for a minute. What do you think the numbers are going to be like for last night's game? Paul Feinbaum said last week he thought this game was going to end up almost, now this sounded like SEC sour grapes, but he was talking about how this thing may end up just, taking a real back seat to what's going on in the NFL right now. What do you think the numbers are going to be like?
That's an interesting question. I would imagine they're a little lower than they have been. I would imagine. I don't think it's going to be so dramatically lower. Maybe.
No, I don't either. I don't either.
Than other games. I think it will be lower just because, I don't think that as people are as interested, the general public, I mean. But here's what I'll say. People love an underdog story.
Oh, yeah.
And people love watching an underdog. So it wouldn't shock me if the numbers ended up being pretty good.
Yeah,
because I think a lot of people were watching that game and cheering for Indiana.
Don't get me wrong. I don't think the numbers are going to crash. I'm not suggesting that at all. In fact, I think they probably benefited because the game was closer than a lot of people thought it was going to be. And at least, unless you'd watched Carson Beck play, it looked like, Miami had a chance right down there to the end.
Unless you'd watched Carson
I mean, if you watched him play, you knew it was fool's gold. But if you hadn't,
that's incredible.
At least from a scoreboard perspective, it was still very much a ball game. I thought the NFL over the weekend was really, really good.
It was,
yeah. And college football, it almost seems like even with the playoffs, when you're competing against the NFL, you're competing for a niche. You're competing. I know Edward thinks I should say niche, but you're competing for a slice of the football pie, and the NFL gets the largest part of it. When you put the national championship college football game the day after some really, 2 days of really good professional football, you do notice the difference. Doesn't make college football any less great. I mean, it is great, but it's Feinbaum has a point, but I thought that, it also kind of sounded like SEC sour grapes too. All right, 877-377-6963. 646, Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
You really make me want to call you a moron. I'm not going to do that, but I want to.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Looking for the perfect light beer to kick off the new year? Flight by Yuengling raises the bar for light beers. With just 95 calories, you can enjoy the crisp, refreshing taste of a Yuengling, but it's a light beer. Grab a Flight at your favorite store or ask your bartender and take your beer game to new heights. It's perfect for the holidays or watching a game. Flight by Yuengling, the next generation of light beer.
Buying or selling a home's a big deal, and you want someone who is with you every step of the way. That's why those of us at the Chuck and Bo Show wholeheartedly recommend Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, because we've experienced it. They've been my partners for life. They're Bo's partner now, and I promise you, when you become involved with Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, they'll become your partners for life too. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can always log on and check out their selection at WeicherGriffin.com.
Some moments call for more than just a win. They call for unforgettable. At Blakeman's, you're not just buying a diamond. You're creating an experience that starts the moment you walk through the door. Their newly remodeled space is absolutely stunning, and Cafe B has a personal touch you won't find anywhere else. Their in-house diamond expert makes it easy to find the perfect piece for any occasion, and that purple bag is still undefeated when it comes to saving the day. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry. It's more than jewelry. It's your story.
Cutting corners is generally a bad idea, and when it comes to roofing, it's real bad. That's why Teamwork Roofing and Construction uses only the best materials, like Malarkey shingles, which perform better, protect longer, and are more sustainable. Residential or commercial. Got a complicated job? They've got the certified crews ready to deliver on time and on budget. You need a roof that's built on quality and powered by teamwork. Teamwork Roofing and Construction. Log on to teamworkbuilt.com and get a quote today. That's teamworkbuilt.com.
Oaklawn is here for when you want the ultimate escape, all in one place. Check into the luxury hotel. Escape to Astral Spa, the only Forbes 4-star rated spa in Arkansas. Indulge at award-winning restaurants like the Bugler or the Oak Room and Bar, all before having the time of your life at the 24/7 smoke-free casino, where the energy goes all night. Here, excitement and luxury meet under one roof. Oaklawn Hot Springs. Join the fun. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
High school sports in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley have never had a bigger stage. I'm Alyssa Orange, host of the Varsity Vibe podcast, and every week we'll be bringing you the stories, highlights, and moments that matter most to our communities. Don't miss a beat. Subscribe to our newsletter, check out the Varsity Vibe podcast, and follow us on social media for the latest scores and spotlight features. Get it all at varsityvibearkansas.com.
This is not interesting. It's just interesting to us.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Hey, if you're thinking about buying or selling a home, now more than ever, it's important to partner with a well-trained real estate professional, someone who understands all the ins and outs of the game and makes sense of all the things we read about in the real estate market every day. That's why I've partnered with Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, from the very beginning. And that's why I recommend them to you. I remember the first time I bought a home. I didn't have any idea what was going on. They did, fortunately, and they guided me through the process. They listened, and perhaps that's the most important thing. You want someone on your side of the table who understands your needs and who listens. Now, they've got offices in Northwest Arkansas. They're in Fayetteville and Bentonville. They're in the River Valley as well in Fort Smith. You hear us talking about their office in Branson. You're going to see their yellow signs all over town, and you can log on to WeicherGriffin.com. Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, turning houses into homes since 1978.
When it comes to any kind of construction, you need to know and be able to depend on who you're dealing with. When it comes to your roof or a remodel, Teamwork Roofing and Construction builds everything using only the best materials, including Malarkey shingles that perform better, protect longer, and are more sustainable. Your roof is more than just shingles. It protects your home, your business, and everything inside, residential or commercial, simple or complex. Teamwork Teamwork Roofing and Construction has the certified crews ready to deliver on time and on budget, treating every job like it's their own. They do what they say, show up when they say they will, and when the job's done, it's like they were never there, except for a brand new roof or a remodel. And they now do cabinetry. Get the customer care and reliability you can count on. Visit teamworkbuilt.com. That's teamworkbuilt.com. Teamwork Roofing and Construction. Built on quality, powered by teamwork.
The Chuck and Bo Show on Demand is driven by the Fayetteville Auto Part, with full replays available on YouTube and Twitter. Or catch up on all 3 hours with a podcast version on Spotify and Apple. Just search The Chuck and Bo Show.
Can I be honest?
Please do.
I mean, this is me being vulnerable and transparent, which I know you love and are very comfortable with.
I know what's coming.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
877-377-6963. Transfer portal. Seems like we have to go to that. It's like a requirement all throughout the month of January. I was looking at some of the stuff Bart put together for us here today. And Bart, here's what I don't understand. I need some help. As things stand currently, Arkansas has the number 10 portal class in the country per On3. That's one of the websites out there. But it's number 27, according to 24/7 Sports. That's a pretty stark difference. What's the what? I mean, what's the difference? We split the difference? What's the deal?
It's different. I think they just evaluate the classes in different ways. I know On3 kind of explains what they do. This is what their little blurb says. It says their
little
portal index utilizes the On3 performance score to measure a team's production during the transfer process compared relative against its roster and not a comparison against other schools. This algorithm determines if a school has improved its overall team talent, stayed the same, or declined in talent during the transfer window. So I think what On3's ranking is suggesting is that Arkansas has greatly improved the level of talent on its roster, and I think what 24/7's rankings are saying is that that's great, but it still might not be good enough compared to other schools.
I got to tell you, when you start reading through that criteria,
yeah,
I'm like, do they really want us to understand?
No.
Are we supposed to understand?
No, it's just supposed to make you feel good or bad, depending on the situation.
It's kind of like, what's the if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with.
That's right. Look, I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle, right? As with everything, I don't think Arkansas probably has the 10th best transfer class in the country.
Might be the best. Might be the worst. We don't know.
Yeah, I also don't think it's the 27th ranked class in the country. What I do know is that they've signed a lot of guys with really good Power 4 experience.
Well, the word there is experience,
right?
And
that's
you look
different.
at. When you look at Indiana, the example everybody cites right now, the one thing that he did, even from the first year, last year, before they ever played a game, the players that he brought with him or brought to that program that he'd not coached before, he brought in guys who'd played, and that matters a lot. David's in Searcy. David, you're on the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm not sure that Eddie's not listening today because we've been promised that whatever makes us happy, if you've earned your spot, you'll still get to do. So I'd like to say, brother, thank you so much for what you did for all of us. All the times that you made me spit my coffee on my shirt, all the times you made me laugh at 6:30 in the morning when I didn't really feel like laughing when I got up. Thank you for all the chill bumps that ran up and down my arms and my neck when we heard that hog train rolling. Thank you for all that, brother. And I'd like to say, sure, there was some jealousy because not because I couldn't get the attention you got. It's because I could not be like Eddie, because there will only be one Eddie, and that's going to be good enough for us, brother. Guys, I heard Billy Graham say one time that a lady asked him, will I have my dog in heaven? And he said, I will give you the assurance that whatever makes you happy to the fullest, you will be allowed to have. So, Eddie, let me tell you, brother, when you tune in on Celestial YouTube tonight at 8 o'clock, look over at the good Lord and tell him, don't tell me who won because I'm fixing to feel it again. So let's enjoy the game with our brother tonight, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right, David, thank you. It is amazing. And this is, I will just tell you, this is why I love talk radio. It's why I think to this day it's one of the most unique mediums out there, regardless of whether you're talking sports, regardless of what you're talking about, because you touch each other's lives. And Eddie touched a lot of lives, and most people don't do that. 877-377-6963. This is the Chuck and Bo Show. We'll continue to take your calls and continue to get your thoughts.
When it comes to watching games, nobody does it like Walk-Ons. Over 60 TVs at every location, and the food and drinks win. Mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, like po' boys and gumbo, plus fan favorites, like the best burger you can get anywhere, and more draft beers and cocktails than you can count. Incredible food, wonderful service, and a viewing experience like none other. Walk-On Sports Bistro. We live for this.
This fall, don't just pay for a heating tune-up. Make it part of a Paschal membership and get year-round benefits for your home. For as low as $8.99 a month, your annual tune-up is included. Plus, members get exclusive discounts on air, plumbing, and electric services. Don't wait until there's a problem. Protect your home, budget, and peace of mind with Paschal. Visit gopaschal.com to learn more and join today. And Razorback fans, we've got exciting news. Paschal is now proud to be the official air, plumbing, and electric provider of the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Hey, it's Bo, and I want to share something that's completely enhanced my day-to-day life. About a year ago, I started telling you about the Sweatnum Edge. Well, over the last several months, here's what's happened for me. My energy level is completely different. My exercise gains have seen a big jump. My mind is clearer, and frankly, life is just more enjoyable. Now, that's my story. What about you? Search the Sweatnum Edge online and get a free evaluation today. It's made a big difference for me, and I know it can for you too. The Sweatnum Edge.
Hey folks, Chuck Barrett here, the voice of the Razorbacks. And if you're ready for freedom from glasses or contacts, there's only one name you need to know: McDonald Eye Associates. Whether it's LASIK, clear lens exchange, or advanced cataract surgery, they've got the solution to help you see your best, no matter your age. Doctors Betts and Meng
They just have a to-go lane.
No, I mean it's a drive-through.
It's a drive-through, and you went to get a cheeseburger.
Yeah,
okay,
that's right.
All right.
And I pull into the drive-through. I order my food. They ask for a name for the order, and I gave them my name.
Mark. They called you Mark.
No. The guy said, "How's your pops Homer doing?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh man, I haven't heard that one before."
Previously heard on Chuck and Bo.
I told you yesterday, he's like Mike Judge, the creator of Beavis and Butthead, a Rice graduate like myself.
You went to school with a guy who created Beavis and Butthead?
He was about 2 years older than me, Bo.
King of the Hill, too.
Mike Judge has no connection whatsoever to Rice University.
You guys are horrible.
No.
If the guy wants to go through life thinking he went to college with the creator of Beavis and Butthead, what's the harm?
Chuck and Bo Show.
I would resist the urge to drink this morning.
Stop. I'm done.
You said a lot of good things there.
Well, I don't know if I said one good thing.
I met a guy last night. Love y'all to death, Jeff.
You mind if I share?
I'm looking forward to it.
The show of record for Razorback fans.
I'm in my Sunday school, and first thing he says when we hop in the car, he says, "What's heard on the Chuck and Bo show?"
It's too early for this kind of conversation. I'm still half asleep.
Here are your hosts, Chuck Barrett and Bo Mattingly.
Basketball tonight at Bud Walton Arena. Razorbacks and Vanderbilt, 8 o'clock. A mere 13 hours from now, the Razorbacks and the Commodores will tip off. Cal said something last night about how the last Vanderbilt game, maybe it wasn't the last one, but one of them, they called like 60 fouls, and they should have called 90 or could have called 90. I'm thinking, man, first off, it's going to be an 8:05 tip. The game before ours is probably going to run long. Ours will tip off about 10 after 8. They'll call 80 fouls. We're going to be there at 11:30. And Arkansas needs to win tonight. Vanderbilt needs to win. You know, it's the second straight top 25 matchup. It's top 25 matchup in Athens and top 25 matchup at Bud Walton tonight. So we'll talk some more about that. In fact, Jimmy Dykes going to join us at 7:45. He'll be on the call tonight. And we'll get his thoughts on the Razorbacks and the Commodores. If you're just hopping on, obviously the football game last night's dominated a lot of the discussion. Bo's on his way back from Miami. He was there last night, and I'm sure we'll have a full report tomorrow. But it was closer than the prognosticators predicted. You know, Cignetti said it was a setup at 8.5. I don't know if I'd go that far. But Miami played with a lot of spirit last night. But I said this last hour, and I don't mean to pick on Carson Beck. Let me just say this. Here's why I got down on Carson Beck yesterday, all right? I don't know if you guys saw this. Did you see the picture of his house in Miami?
No, I didn't.
It's like a $5 million house.
Jeez.
And I assume the picture was real. I mean, I guess it could have been fake, but I don't think so. And I know property is expensive in Miami. You can get to $5 million pretty quickly in a place like Miami. But I'm thinking, wow, this guy's like, what, I don't know, 24 now maybe, 25, I don't know. He's made a lot of money, enough to buy a $5 million house. But did anybody really think when Miami got the ball at the end last night he was going to go win the game for him? No,
I didn't think so at all.
If it had been Fernando Mendoza, if the situation had been reversed, would you have believed he was going to go win the game for Indiana?
Most likely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. He was the difference in the game last night. Hey, William stayed on through the break down in Lafayette, Louisiana. And, William, you are on the Chuck and Bo Show, so we're going to start the new hour with you. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. And I'd just like to say I would have waited all day to be able to say thank you to the great Eddie. I can't tell you how many times I've had, started the morning early, going to check on my pipeline or going out to the refinery and just heard his calls. And, man, he loved them hogs. He reminded us all why we all love the hogs. I don't know him personally. He did, Chuck. And I didn't know him personally. I knew him from, hearing him on your show. We lost the group. And I'd just like to thank you for letting me have a platform, pay that man respect, tell him thanks. And then, if you don't mind, on this transfer portal part, I know you look at the analytics and the data, something that resonated with me. It's like I think we've literally signed like redshirt freshmen that were rated high 4-star, and they've redshirted, and it just looks like on like 247, they've just given them a blanket 3-star rating. I just don't trust their ratings of the portal. I think the portal moved too fast for them, and they just put a blanket rating on it. And maybe when you got time, you could look at that too and see if you noticed that. But that's something I noticed. Yeah. Anyway, thanks again. You see what I'm saying, Bart? Like, just think of, like, how can they drop that much to a blanket rating when they freaking redshirted at a program that's in the playoffs? I'm not saying they aren't 3 stars now, but it just, something doesn't add up. How can they be a 4-star here and take a redshirt and develop it here and drop to a blanket 3 all the way across the board? It just stuck out to me. But if you get a second, take a look. Again, thanks for letting me pay respects to Eddie. Go Hogs tonight, and I'll be listening to Chuck. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you, William. Go ahead, Bart.
Yeah, I think it's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
There are a lot of guys who, go into school as a 4-star, redshirt for a year, because that team doesn't really need them in that spot right now, or for whatever reason, and then they go in the transfer portal and they're a 3-star transfer. So I understand the confusion for sure. It doesn't seem like there's really a rhyme or reason to it, to some of these transfer rankings as opposed to other ones. I don't think a player got worse, by redshirting for a year. So look, I don't know how 247, for example, evaluates transfer players or what their system is for that. What I do know is that I think Arkansas's transfer class this year is shaping up to be a lot better than the one they had last year, and that's due to something, Chuck, you and I talked about earlier in the last hour. They have guys with experience coming in. And not just experience, but good experience. They have North Carolina's leading tackler coming in, for example. They have one of the best cornerbacks in the Big Ten last year coming in from Maryland. They've got guys who played meaningful football, and that is really what translates. That's the known quantity. Now, look, we don't know how a lot of these guys are going to do in the SEC, right? But what we do know is that they have meaningful experience, and that's as good a starting point as you can have for a new head coach.
When you look at the, portal, it's programs like the ones that we've watched play the last 3-4 weeks of the season. They always get the impact guys, and some of them we've heard of. Some of them they hit on. I mean, some of these guys that are out there right now that make the big money in the portal are not guys that were household names prior to entering the portal. I mean, they're good players, and all of a sudden they go in the portal and they're worth millions. But the good programs, those players often seem to be the difference makers for them. Programs that don't win as much, and if we're honest, Arkansas has been one of them. Sometimes you just get other teams' backups and other teams' malcontents. Now, that's not always the case, and I do not want to generalize there. But my point in all of this is that it sounds like, and I hope, that they're getting guys who are used to playing, who are still hungry, who have played meaningful minutes, as you say, and can be more than just a warm body. Look, there were some guys, on that defensive side last year. They were on the 2 deep because there was just nobody else to put on there. I mean, they didn't have anybody else put on there. We got to put somebody there. Put him there. He's not playing. I mean, I can tell you there are 2 or 3 guys on that defensive side, 1 or 2 on the offense that I filled out every week, and they were listed as the number 2 guy. And I knew there was no way in hell those guys were going to play. Unless there was just a catastrophe. That guy was not playing. He may have been listed as number 2 on the left side.
That's incredible.
But if the number 1 on the left side went down, it was going to be the number 2 on the right side that came over and played. It wasn't going to be him. And you've got to get to the point where all those guys can play, all those guys can contribute. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't all. It doesn't mean that every guy's got to be equal, and it doesn't mean when your starter goes out that you don't mix and match with the backups to try to get the best group of players on the field. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But I am saying that you need to be able to do more than just fill out a 2 deep. You need to be able to fill out a 2 deep with guys who can actually go out there and help you win some games. All right. Hey, what do you guys think of the NFL? We kind of got into this a little bit. Did Buffalo get robbed on that that catch that turned into a Broncos interception there at the end? Did they get robbed?
I still don't even know what to think about that play.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm good with whatever.
I thought
whoever
it was a
has
catch.
an argument for it, I agree with.
I thought it was a catch and he was down. That's what I thought. But now you watch it in real time, clearly an interception.
Yes.
Right.
But then you apply replay and you go frame by frame, and it's like, he was on the ground there.
Right.
That was an incredible play, though.
I think it's one of those situations where they really need to define the rule, right? Define that sort of situation.
I'm sure they felt like they defined the right. I'm sure they felt like they called it.
I think by letter of the law, I think it was technically the correct call.
By the rule book, the refs did get the call right. People have weighed in on that on social media. Joe Burrow, lots of NFL people have said, by does that mean you agree with the NFL rule book? No, but the refs technically
I think they got it
did
right, yeah.
get it right by what's written.
Does football move or having control for? To let him. I guess what I'm asking is, by rule, why is everything good?
Well, Chuck, I think you'd have to ask the NFL commissioner
You
that
guys
question.
don't have a rule book handy.
That's
You
beyond
guys
my
don't have a
pay
rule
grade,
book right over there.
No, we need one.
I thought everybody had an NFL rule book close.
It
close
felt
by.
It felt though, watching it live, like it just in the moment, it felt like Buffalo was getting cheated. Is what it felt like in the moment, and that means that there's either a lack of communication on what the rule is, or it's a bad rule, or fans just don't know the intricacies of the rule, whatever that may be. If it's the right call and you feel like a team got robbed in the moment, that's kind of a bad place to be.
Well, whether it's the right call or the wrong call, it got Sean McDermott fired.
It did.
That's unbelievable.
It
got Sean McDermott fired. If they'd won that game, obviously he'd still be the coach today. If that call had gone the other way, they might have won the game. No guarantee that they would have, but they might have. He's out of a job today.
98-50 all time with the Bills. 8-8 in the postseason. 2 AFC Championship game losses to the Chiefs in 2020 and 2024. Won 5 consecutive AFC East titles from 2020 to 2024. Finished second this year behind the Patriots, who are playing for a spot in the Super Bowl against the Denver Broncos and Jarrett Stidham. So really just, man, I don't know how Buffalo is going to find a better coach, but good luck to him, I guess.
I saw a good tweet. This is from Benjamin Solak on Twitter. Since drafting Josh Allen in 2018, the Bills have drafted 56 players. Only 2 of them have made Pro Bowls, and they fired their coach.
Wow.
So
I admit time gets away. I'd lost track of how much time had passed between the old days of the Buffalo Bills when they'd always get to the Super Bowl but lose. And they went through almost 2 decades of just futility. And McDermott brings them back. I was reading an article yesterday, and lots of programs, college, pro, whatever, find themselves in this spot. Their thought is he got us back to where we could win a championship, but he's not the guy to win it. He's put us in a position to compete for these things again, but he's not the one to get us over the hump, so to speak. People talk about Tony Dungy and John Gruden, and I'm sure there are other examples as well. But I don't know. We'll see as we go forward. But that's going to be something to watch. We'll just put it that way. I got to hit a break. All right, 877-377-6963. This is the Chuck and Bo Show. 7:18. Good morning.
Do you have more opinions today? Do you have more things that we haven't gotten to?
Hell yeah, brother.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Some moments call for more than just a win. They call for unforgettable. At Blakeman's, you're not just buying a diamond. You're creating an experience that starts the moment you walk through the door. Their newly remodeled space is absolutely stunning, and Cafe B has a personal touch you won't find anywhere else. Their in-house diamond expert makes it easy to find the perfect piece for any occasion, and that purple bag is still undefeated when it comes to saving the day. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry. It's more than jewelry. It's your story.
Buying or selling a home's a big deal, and you want someone who is with you every step of the way. That's why those of us at the Chuck and Bo Show wholeheartedly recommend Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, because we've experienced it. They've been my partners for life. They're Bo's partner now, and I promise you, when you become involved with Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, they'll become your partners for life too. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can always log on and check out their selection at WeicherGriffin.com.
First Security is about more than great banking. Yes, we provide the financial expertise, digital tools, and everything else you need when you need it. But we also go all in on local support with friendly professionals, plus convenient locations all across the state. Because we believe personal banking is better banking. Visit fsbank.com for details. That's fsbank.com for friendly local banking with First Security. Bank better. Member FDIC.
There's simply not a better shopping experience than Macadoodles. Looking for the best selection of beer, wine, and spirits? Macadoodles or Guess Who in Bentonville has you covered. With an unbeatable selection, amazing prices, and service that's unbeatable, they've got everything you need. Whether you're stocking up for a party, updating your bar, or just grabbing your favorites, Roger and the team are always there to help. Make the smart choice. Macadoodles, just north of Bella Vista at the state line, and Guess Who in Bentonville. He's Chuck Barrett.
He's Bo Mattingly.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
The Chuck and Bo Show on Demand is proudly driven by the Fayetteville Auto Park. We've been talking about them for a number of years. The truth is, they've been Northwest Arkansas's premier vehicle dealership for really as long as I can remember. There are lots of reasons for that. Starts with great brands: Honda, Acura, Chevy, Toyota. And then they've got the largest pre-owned selection that you're going to find anywhere. Trusted names. And they're all right here at the Fayetteville Auto Park. But what really separates them is what happens after the sale. You want to know your vehicle can be serviced by people you trust, right where you bought it. And that's exactly what you get at Fayetteville Auto Park. An award-winning service department and an award-winning collision center, all under one roof. It really is your one-stop automobile headquarters. They've been in business for 25 years. That's a long time. Built on trust, relationships, top-tier service. That's how you stay around as long as they have. The Fayetteville Auto Park. Drive with confidence.
Looking for the perfect light beer to kick off the new year? Flight by Yuengling raises the bar for light beers. With just 95 calories, you can enjoy the crisp, refreshing taste of a Yuengling, but it's a light beer. Grab a Flight at your favorite store or ask your bartender and take your beer game to new heights. It's perfect for the holidays or watching a game. Flight by Yuengling, the next generation of light beer.
High school sports in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley have never had a bigger stage. I'm Melissa Orange, host of the Varsity Vibe podcast, and every week we'll be bringing you the stories, highlights, and moments that matter most to our communities. Don't miss a beat. Subscribe to our newsletter, check out the Varsity Vibe podcast, and follow us on social media for the latest scores and spotlight features. Get it all at varsityvibearkansas.com.
Hey, thanks for tuning in this morning. Hang out with Bo and me every weekday morning from 6 to 9 live on YouTube or Twitter, or catch up with the podcast version of the show available on Spotify and Apple.
I can't figure out if Chuck's playing a role here, or this is how he feels, or if he cares at all.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
All right, here we go. Glad you're back. Basketball tonight, Bud Walton Arena, Razorbacks and Vanderbilt. I was punching up the SEC schedule for tonight because you look at the standings right now. I mean, A&M and Florida are 4-1. There are 16 teams in this league. And as of this morning, 5 games into this thing, really as of Sunday morning, 5 games into this thing, there are only 2 teams that are better than 3-2. Now, in no way, shape, or form do I consider that to be an indictment of the league. But I do think it kind of illustrates what this may be like as we move through the season. And that's why I say I'm going to be interested to see how many teams are able to go win on the road. I didn't fully understand it at the time, and time will tell if it's actually this way. But I got a feeling that win at Ole Miss may end up being a little bit more impressive than people think. I'm not saying Ole Miss is a great team, but I'm saying that, they did win at Georgia. They beat Georgia. Arkansas fell so far behind in that first half against Georgia that even though they played a lot better in the second, it was just too big a hill to climb. They expended so much energy to get back just to even that, Georgia had plenty left in the tank. But my point is Arkansas beat that Ole Miss team on their floor, and pretty impressive in the manner in which they did it. Vanderbilt's a team that, they started ripping all these wins off consecutively. And it's hard to do that. I don't care who you're playing. Early in the season, November, December, I don't care what your schedule is. Going undefeated in that shows that, in the modern era of new rosters every year, that you're putting it together pretty quick. And, Byington's building that program over there, and I give him credit for all that. They're still a part of, I think, the bulk of the SEC, though, at least the upper echelon on the basketball side, who still wonder if Vanderbilt's going to be good enough to come into your place. Vanderbilt, over the years, everyone always knew, man, you go to Memorial Gym, you're going to have to fight for your life, man. That's a crazy place. Weird things happen. Benches are on the end of the floor. If you're not careful, you get beat. But when they come to our place, we'll beat them. Now, there's been a time or two Vandy's come in here and played well. Honestly, that Georgia game Saturday kind of reminded me of one of those Vanderbilt games when they came in here. They got so far ahead at the start that Arkansas couldn't even come back and win. But I'm going to be interested to see as we go through the next few weeks how many teams come up with road victories. Because, again, that has a lot to do with the standings. And I do. I mean, like right now, A&M and Florida are 4-1. Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Missouri, and Kentucky are all 3-2. Now, the one team that's not in that 3-2 group's Tennessee. Tennessee, Mississippi State, Auburn, Texas, 2-3. The only 1-4 team, South Carolina, LSU, and Oklahoma. There's not a winless team. There's not an undefeated team. And when you think about that in a 16-team conference through only 5 ball games, I don't know. I don't know what everybody else thinks. I think it speaks well to the balance of the league, Bart.
Yeah, I would agree. And you know, this is kind of reflective a little bit of how the SEC finished last year. Now, you had, 4 teams kind of that separated themselves maybe toward the end of the year. Auburn went 15-3, Florida 14-4, Alabama 13-5, Tennessee 12-6. But then you had A&M at 11-7. You had 3 teams at 10-8. You had 4 teams at 8-10. Arkansas was one of those teams and made it to the Sweet 16. I think by the end of the season, the regular season, I think it's probably going to look fairly similar. It might even be more bunched up than that, because I think when you look at the top of the league. Florida, Vanderbilt, Alabama, Arkansas. You look at those schools. I think they're going to be a cut above by the end of the regular season. But I think everybody else is going to be pretty bunched up. I think South Carolina is going to really struggle this year. I just don't think they're very good. I think Mississippi State, I know they're 2-3 in the league right now. They're not very good. They have one good player on their team. Oklahoma, I think, is probably better than people are giving them credit for, but I don't know if you've seen any games that they've played at home, Chuck, but they have like 2 people in the stands.
Oh, yeah,
it's brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
The Oklahoma City Thunder take all the basketball fans.
That's right.
In that part of the world.
So I think it's going to be, fairly similar to how it looked last year. At the end of it, it's going to be a lot of teams bunched up, which gives a lot of teams a chance to win the SEC title this year.
All right, Nelson's on the line in Harrison. Nelson, you're on the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
Good morning, fellas. I'll tell you what, I just want to go off of I just want to echo the sentiments of everybody for Eddie there. And I just want to say about the transfer portal, I really feel like that we got what we needed. We might not have got all these big players, but I feel like they went and got the pieces they needed to start a rebuild. I mean, we're not trying to win a national championship next year. And I know people are going to say, well, that's 100 years. We can't win it. That ain't what I'm saying. I'm saying you can't try to win a national championship next year. You got to build a little bit. Now, 2 years, 3 years, Silverfield said, 3 years we should be winning. He said it out of his own mouth. So I think we did okay with the transfer portal guys, and I hope, I'd like to hear what you guys say about that. And then I want to say something else with this basketball team. I feel like that we can't get behind like we have, and then find the right combination of players, and then decide to take them out like Calipari said he did. He said, we found the right combination, then I decided to take them out and try something else. Why? Why would you do that? He did that against Houston. Whenever he put Ewan in, and Ewan was getting fouled every time, and then he takes him out and we get beat again. I mean, if you find the right combination, try to stick with it. And I want to say one more thing, guys. If that Sorrell kid gets to set illegal screens every time he moves, Georgia will win the national championship. That guy did not set one legal screen, and there was one time he put his hand right on Ewan's chest at the foul line, arm fully extended to keep him from getting the ball. It's like, come on, dude.
They let him get away with a lot. Thank you, Nelson. They did let him get away with a lot. There's not any doubt about that. He's a pretty aggressive player. I don't know if you guys yesterday, as I said, I watched little pro hoops yesterday. I've been under the weather, so I watched a lot of television. And Ansu Cisse, you remember him? I don't know where his career ended. He played at Ole Miss. I mean, maybe you have to pay really close attention to SEC basketball to remember this guy. But he's like, I mean, he was okay. But I was watching yesterday. His team, I don't think, won. But this guy's gained like 20 pounds. I mean, he's a hoss. And he's out there playing. And my point is you see guys like Cyril, who are kind of raw as collegians, and we've got them, and other teams have them too. They're just still raw. We forget sometimes as 18-year-olds, they are not grown men yet. We may think of them as grown men, but I was watching him yesterday. He's probably only 23, 24 years old. Kind of like watching Anthony Black right now as a 21-year-old. He was like a grown man compared to what he was when he was here, but he's still only 21. I mean, it's incredible. All right, 877-377-6963. This is the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
There we go. Here we go. Let's take some personal shots. You want to? I mean, come on. Let's take some personal shots at him.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Did you know Chevy of Fayetteville is the #1 volume dealer in Northwest Arkansas? That means nobody sells more cars, trucks, or SUVs than Chevy of Fayetteville. They've been a part of our community for over 25 years. They're supporters of our local schools and the Razorbacks. And they're the best after the sale. An award-winning service and parts department, a waiting area, and complimentary loaners. So go see Chris Mark in Denver and the team at Chevy of Fayetteville, inside the Fayetteville Auto Park.
Are you looking for tough, reliable equipment from people you can trust? WT Equipment is your local family-owned dealership with 8 locations across Arkansas. And yep, they're big-time hog fans too. From Bobcat to New Holland, Hustler, Steel, and more. They carry the brands you know and trust to get the job done. Whether it's equipment or implements, WT Equipment has the tools you need, including a full lineup of Bobcat machines built for power and performance. Stop by your nearest WT Equipment today.
Chuck, you've been around a while, and look, I don't mean that ugly, and Bo, you've been around not as long as Chuck.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Ryan Silverfield has my attention.
Oh, yeah? Well, okay.
Has my attention.
Okay.
Is this like the seal of approval?
Look at that.
Well,
Are we moving closer to the Bart seal of approval?
The man hasn't coached a game yet here.
Yeah.
But
he has your attention.
He has my attention for what he's doing in the transfer portal. You know, when
y'all better put him in the Heisman.
Sure. Pay attention.
Look, when you see these initial transfer portal rankings, you expect them to change pretty rapidly over the course of the portal period as some of the big dogs in the sport, get after it and start signing players and everything. But when you look at what Arkansas has done in the portal, they've been hanging around the top 10 this entire time in terms of portal class rankings. 10th right now in the country, according to 24/7 Sports. 11th via On3. They're doing a great job in the portal, but what, at least it appears that way, right? We have no idea how these guys are going to play at Arkansas, right? But it appears that things are going well. Here's what caught my attention yesterday. Maryland transfer corner Lakai Rowland signed with Arkansas. Starter at Maryland, had a good year as the starter at Maryland. They're, you could say their best player in the defensive backfield. That alone is eye-grabbing, and a starter from a Power 4 conference school. He visited Ohio State, right? And Ohio State fans were really pissed off that they didn't get this guy. And that he came to Arkansas.
At First Security Bank, banking isn't one size fits all. It's personal because everyone's financial journey looks a little different. From managing day-to-day spending to running a small business to helping your kids learn more smart money habits or taking that big step toward buying a home. At First Security, you get the services you expect, the technology you need, and the real support of local people who live here, know the community, and take the time to understand what you're trying to accomplish. Life moves fast, and having a bank that moves with you makes makes a difference. Whether you prefer stopping by a branch, banking on the app, or picking up the phone to talk with someone who actually knows your name, First Security is there. They offer smart tools like mobile banking, bill pay, and mobile check deposit, along with thoughtful solutions like flex banking for kids, checking built for small businesses, and local mortgage lenders who guide you through the home buying process. Choose the power of personal. Bank better at First Security. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You know, Oaklawn and Hot Springs is where excitement, luxury, and nonstop action come together, all in one unforgettable destination. The Oaklawn Casino Resort features a 24/7 smoke-free casino with more than 1,500 slot machines, plus blackjack, craps, roulette, along with great dining, live entertainment, and energy that goes all night. When it comes time to relax, check into the luxury hotel, enjoy award-winning restaurants like the Bugler, and unwind at the Astral Spa, Arkansas's only Forbes 4-star rated spa. And it's the perfect escape with Hot Springs National Park and beautiful scenic lakes just minutes away. And for sports fans, Oaklawn Sportsbook keeps the action going year-round. Bet on football, basketball, baseball, golf, and more. Even international sports with easy deposits and withdrawals, all through America's best sports betting app. Oaklawn is your Hot Springs escape. Plan your visit today at oaklawn.com. The Chuck and Bo Show on Demand is driven by the Fayetteville Auto Park, with full replays available on YouTube and Twitter, or catch up on all 3 hours with a podcast version on Spotify and Apple. Just search The Chuck and Bo Show.
When's the last time you wrote someone a handwritten note?
It's been a while, I have to admit. I mean, I've sent a lot of what I consider
birthday
to be
cards,
meaningful texts, but I have...
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Well, I'm told this is going to have to be a really quick segment. We've got Jimmy Dykes coming up to talk basketball. He's going to be on the call when the Razorbacks take on Vanderbilt tonight. Bo's on his way back from Miami after being at the football game last night. Nelson asked about the portal. We didn't really get to that. We've got just a few minutes here, so it might be a good time to delve back into it. I got to be honest. I didn't know what to expect going into this portal period for Arkansas. I knew what everybody was saying and all that, but I didn't know what to expect. There's a new coach. We've got a bunch of assistants. I didn't know who they were. We're all kind of in that boat unless you follow things pretty closely. I was always impressed by what Silverfield did at Memphis. I thought the team that we played back in September was pretty good. At least they were that day, better than the Razorbacks, or October, whenever it was. They were the better team. But in terms of how he would approach all this and who he could go out and get, I didn't really know. I'm encouraged. I'm not saying this class is, I don't know. They could be great. They could be horrible. You kind of roll the dice a lot of the time in this portal. But all things considered, and I hate to say it, it wasn't that I didn't think these guys were good, but it went a little bit better than I thought it might, to be honest.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Chuck. I said a couple of weeks ago that Ryan Silverfield has my attention. You remember that? I remain in that sort of mindset right now that he's brought in good players, and I'm intrigued by what he can do. And I'm going to reserve judgment until I see these guys out on the field, until I see what this looks like against another schedule that's just as brutally difficult as humanly possible.
Well, I know what we're going to be talking about in the spring. We're going to be talking about all these quarterbacks that are here.
That's right.
Did I see where is Clemson guy, I think Saturday maybe?
Yeah.
Said he was coming. So, we got 5 or 6, it sounds like, over there now.
Just put them all out there at the same time and see what happens.
Well, I think that's I do think that the quarterback battle, or the pecking order, that always, all eyes are on the quarterback. That's just kind of how it works. And I have not seen A.J. Hill, at least in terms of, watched him play. And I know clearly they did. I think, if I'm not mistaken, highest rated recruit Memphis ever signed. He's not chopped liver. By the same token, KJ Jackson's been the heir apparent for a year, and they evidently paid good money to get him. Or to keep him, I should say. So that'll be interesting. It'll be fun to talk about when we get to the spring. All right, we're going to talk about the basketball game when we come back. Jimmy Dykes joins us after the break. This is the Chuck and Bo Show, 741. Good morning.
You guys are part of my family. Everyone that listens to this show is just part of the Chuck and Bo family. We're building a community here.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Cutting corners is generally a bad idea. And when it comes to roofing, it's real bad. That's why Teamwork Roofing and Construction uses only the best materials, like Malarkey shingles, which perform better, protect longer, and are more sustainable. Residential or commercial. Got a complicated job? They've got the certified crews ready to deliver on time and on budget. You need a roof that's built on quality and powered by Teamwork. Teamwork Roofing and Construction. Log on to teamworkbuilt.com and get a quote today. That's teamworkbuilt.com. Looking for the perfect light beer to kick off the new year? Flight by Yuengling raises the bar for light beers. With just 95 calories, you can enjoy the crisp, refreshing taste of a Yuengling, but it's a light beer. Grab a Flight at your favorite store or ask your bartender and take your beer game to new heights. It's perfect for the holidays or watching a game. Flight by Yuengling, the next generation of light beer.
Buying or selling a home's a big deal, and you want someone who is with you every step of the way. That's why those of us at the Chuck and Bo Show wholeheartedly recommend Weichert Realtors, the Griffin Company, because we've experienced it. They've been my partners for life. They're Bo's partner now, and I promise you, when you become involved with Weichert Realtors, the Griffin Company, they'll become your partners for life too. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can always log on and check out their selection at WeichertGriffin.com.
Oaklawn is here for when you want the ultimate escape, all in one place. Check into the luxury hotel. Escape to Astral Spa, the only Forbes 4-star rated spa in Arkansas. Indulge at award-winning restaurants like the Bugler or the Oak Room and Bar, all before having the time of your life at the 24/7 smoke-free casino, where the energy goes all night. Here, excitement and luxury meet under one roof. Oaklawn Hot Springs. Join the fun. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
When it comes to watching games, nobody does it like Walk-Ons. Over 60 TVs at every location, and the food and drinks win. Mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, like po' boys and gumbo, plus fan favorites, like the best burger you can get anywhere, and more draft beers and cocktails than you can count. Incredible food, wonderful service, and a viewing experience like none other. Walk-On Sports Bistro. We live for this.
The nation's best home court advantage lives inside Bud Walton Arena. The Razorbacks are back inside the Basketball Palace of Mid-America, and Coach Calipari and the Hogs need you there and need you loud all season long. A limited number of single-game tickets are available right now. Just head over to ArkansasRazorbacks.com and purchase yours today.
I want to see you and Bart in the old three-legged race.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Let me just...
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Hey, if you're thinking about buying or selling a home, now more than ever, it's important to partner with a well-trained real estate professional, someone who understands all the ins and outs of the game and makes sense of all the things we read about in the real estate market every day. That's why I've partnered with Weichert Realtors, the Griffin Company, from the very beginning. And that's why I recommend them to you. I remember the first time I bought a home. I didn't have any idea what was going on. They did, fortunately, and they guided me through the process. They listened, and perhaps that's the most important thing. You want someone on your side of the table who understands your needs and who listens. Now, they've got offices in Northwest Arkansas. They're in Fayetteville and Bentonville. They're in the River Valley as well, in Fort Smith. You hear us talking about their office in Branson. You're going to see their yellow signs all over town, and you can log on to WeichertGriffin.com. Weichert Realtors, the Griffin Company. turning houses into homes since 1978.
When it comes to any kind of construction, you need to know and be able to depend on who you're dealing with. When it comes to your roof or a remodel, Teamwork Roofing and Construction builds everything using only the best materials, including Malarkey shingles that perform better, protect longer, and are more sustainable. Your roof is more than just shingles. It protects your home, your business, and everything inside, residential or commercial, simple or complex. Teamwork Roofing and Construction has the certified crews ready to deliver on time and on budget, treating every job like it's their own. They do what they say, show up when they say they will, and when the job's done, it's like they were never there, except for a brand new roof or a remodel. And they now do cabinetry. Get the customer care and reliability you can count on. Visit teamworkbuilt.com. That's teamworkbuilt.com. Teamwork Roofing and Construction. Built on quality, powered by teamwork.
The Chuck and Bo Show on Demand is driven by the Fayetteville Auto Part, with full replays available on YouTube and Twitter, or catch up on all 3 hours with a podcast version on Spotify and Apple. Just search The Chuck and Bo Show.
We've been thinking that you travel a lot, and we were wondering if it'd be okay if you just shared your location with us.
Probably not. But
just in case anything happens.
Yeah, I
just with the family here.
Yeah, well, I mean,
would you mind sharing your location with us?
I would mind. Yes.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Hey, this one's on the mothership tonight. It's on ESPN. Carl Ravitch, Jimmy Dykes on the call. Jimmy joins us on the line right now. Good morning, friend. How are you?
Hey, guys, I'm doing great. Nice cold start to the day here in Fayetteville, right?
Man, it is, and it's just that time of year. What we were talking a little bit earlier. There's 16 teams in the league, and there's only 2 of them that are even 4-1 through 5 ball games. Nobody's undefeated. Nobody's winless. What do you think that means for the rest of the way?
Yeah, Chuck, it's I'm sure you get some of the same stuff as I do from the SEC office, but I believe 27% of the games played in this league so far have been like a 2-possession game or less. So there's a ton of close games. No other league has that going on. Maybe the ACC is next at 20%. So that's just an indicator of there's no heavyweight in this league like there was a year ago. We had 4 or 5 of them last year, like true heavyweights. But there's also not a fighter that can't beat you in a 15-round fight. So I think you see a lot of close games, and as a result of that, you have to win on your home floor. You can't give one away if you're a serious contender or think you are for the SEC regular season title. So that's why I call it pressure, whatever you want to call it. But that's why it's on Arkansas to hold serve tonight on the home floor, where, as you guys know better than me, they've been really, really good inside Bud Walton.
You know, that is one of the things that, and we really kind of brought, we talked about this in the 6 o'clock hour, and I knew I wanted to get into it with you. The ability to win on the road. Arkansas wins at Ole Miss. Ole Miss wins at Georgia. Georgia builds such a big lead on Arkansas they can't come back. Auburn loses at home. Then the Razorbacks play, this was before that, obviously. The Razorbacks play them there. They're in a must-win situation. I think Arkansas's win over Ole Miss may turn out to be better than people think. And I just wonder, and I think about it in terms of Vanderbilt. Who are the teams that are going to be able to go on the road and get enough wins to be top shelf at the end?
Yeah, well, I saw one Saturday, Florida. I think right now they're the best team in the league. They're starting to look like kind of what they did last year. I'm not saying they're going to win the national title, but the front line we know is national title good, and Boogie Flan and Xavier Lee are coming on, so they've shown the ability to do it. Vanderbilt, Chuck, they have the ability to do it, and that I think we've talked before when I've been with you guys, when you play someone is vastly underrated. And Vanderbilt rattled off 16 straight wins to start the year, on the verge of being a top 10 team. Then they get popped last week at midweek at Texas. They come home, lose to Florida, and now they're looking at the possibility of losing 3 in a row. So I know Arkansas is going to face a desperate effort from Vanderbilt tonight. Like, Vanderbilt's one of the better offensive teams in the league that I've seen. They can really score. They can score at all 5 positions. Mark Byington's a great offensive coach. And they create turnovers with their defense because Vanderbilt's a small team. So you're going to see Vanderbilt really active. They don't just set down and guard like they trap some. They're very handsy. They go for steals. They're vulnerable on the boards. But if you're Arkansas, you're playing a team that's good and desperate. And that's why Arkansas, I think they're going to have to be very good tonight inside their own building.
You mentioned the rebounding there. I wonder if that's going to be an advantage for Arkansas tonight.
It should be. You know, the last 2 games, Vanderbilt in the losses to Texas and Florida, I think they've been out-rebounded by 17 or 18 on the average. Now Florida's a monster rebounding team. You know, I'm not saying Arkansas is in that category, but Arkansas is certainly above average on the glass, and you've got to take advantage of that against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is last in the league. They are dead last in the league in offensive rebound percentage, which is how I judge, and most people judge how good of a rebounding team are you. It's the percentage of rebounds that you get on either end of the floor. They're dead last on offensive rebounds. If they don't make their first shot, they can get cooked. So Arkansas's, quote, first shot defense has to be really good. And if it is, boy, that's a big, big thing in this game because Vanderbilt, they just don't get a lot of second chance points.
What was your take on the Georgia game for Arkansas Saturday? I'm sure you've taken a peek at that as you've gotten ready for this one. I mean, what was your take on that?
Yeah, I watched it on the plane ride in last night, which is weird, by the way. Come to Fayetteville and staying in the Graduate in my own house, you know. Yeah,
I'll bet it is.
Last time I stayed in the Graduate, Chuck, was a night of my wedding. That's been that long.
Oh my gosh!
Before you stayed our wedding night.
Was it even the Graduate then? Was it even the Graduate?
It wasn't the Graduate then.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't the Graduate then, and no, lots going on.
It's been through several incarnations over the years.
Yeah, it has. But I watched the film last night, and you were there. The start was horrendous. Yeah, you put yourself in a deep hole on the road. It's really hard to dig out of. But man, I do like the fight back that Arkansas showed. You know, Kentucky showed some fight back last week. Both games when they were down 17 and 18 and came back and won. But you can't do that. And your older guys have to be good early. You know, I remember jotting some notes down last night. Carter Knox had a bad turnover and a flagrant one, which kind of helped ignite whatever the score was right out of the blocks. You know, so I think it comes down to in that game. The early shot selection and lack of defense was Arkansas's problem, but they did dig their way out of it and had a chance to win the game. But you can't do that at home tonight, certainly against a team that is as explosive as Vanderbilt is offensively. Chuck, I don't know if you've seen them yet. Vanderbilt's not real physical. They're not the biggest team, but, man, they play hard and they run great offense. They really do.
What about Acuff? I got to ask you about him before we go. You've watched a lot of players, coached them over the years. Where's this guy in that group?
Yeah, you start talking about and go to lunch today and say, hey, who's the best true freshman that Arkansas has had basketball? He's going to be in that conversation.
Yeah.
Now, you've had a lot of guys that have gotten better from their freshman to sophomore year, sophomore to junior. This kid, and it shouldn't be a surprise. In year 2, John Calipari has the front runner for the SEC Freshman of the Year, you know, and a freshman that could still win the Player of the Year if Arkansas, you know, wins and finishes in the top 3 or 4. But he's a different kid, Chuck, because on film, nothing about him says he's a freshman in terms of how he carries himself. He's never too high. He's never too low. Mistakes don't bother him. When he makes a big play, it doesn't bother him. And I've heard other coaches in the league talk about that's what impresses him the most about just how he carries himself. Obviously, he's a high-usage guy with the ball in his hands a lot, so he has to be good every night if Arkansas is going to be good. But so far, he's handled that.
Got to stop you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, the music went away. I thought we were going away. I'm sorry. My apologies, Jim.
Arkansas's one-stop automotive shop is right around the corner. Fayetteville Auto Park. FayettevilleAutoPark.com. Chevy, Toyota, Honda, Acura, Collision Center, all in one place. And if you're shopping pre-owned, Fayetteville Auto Park has you covered. With so many new cars sold, we always have a great selection of fresh trades. Why settle for anything less than the best? Fayetteville Auto Park, West Showroom Drive in Fayetteville. Proud sponsor of the Chuck and Bo Show.
Imagine every sip and bite feels like you're celebrating the finer things in life. Chef Shiloh and the bartenders at Tusker's Tavern in Fayetteville have just dropped new menu items celebrating a cocktail culture and culinary craftsmanship. Daily happy hour, 5 to 6:30. 20% off wine by the glass and $5 local draft beer. And for fun, they've created Unhappy Hour, Monday through Wednesday from 9 to 11 p.m. with the same specials. It's Tusker's Tavern at the corner of Mission and Crossover in Fayetteville. I love a day or weekend at Big Creek Country Club in Mountain Home. The golf, the people, the hospitality, and the events they host always hit the mark, and members enjoy it all. State-of-the-art practice facilities, food, beverages, a big pool and a snack and beverage bar, tennis and pickleball courts, and they can even book you an exclusive fly fishing trip. There's no initiation fee, and for out-of-towners, a membership is only $185 a month. It's Big Creek Country Club in Mountain Home. It's home away from home.
High school sports in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley have never had a bigger stage. I'm Melissa Orange, host of the Varsity Vibe podcast, and every week we'll be bringing you the stories, highlights, and moments that matter most to our communities. Don't miss a beat. Subscribe to our newsletter, check out the Varsity Vibe podcast, and follow us on social media for the latest scores and spotlight features. Get it all at varsityvibearkansas.com.
Donuts, Red Bull, and lottery tickets. I mean, how could you want anything
Courtesy
more?
of the Chuck and Bo Show.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
When it comes to watching games, nobody does it like walk-ons. Over 60 TVs at every location, and the food and drinks win. Mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, like po' boys and gumbo, plus fan favorites, like the best burger you can get anywhere, and more draft beers and cocktails than you can count. Incredible food, wonderful service, and a viewing experience like none other. Walk-On Sports Bistro. We live for this.
Some moments call for more than just a win. They call for unforgettable. At Blakeman's, you're not just buying a diamond. You're creating an experience that starts the moment you walk through the door. Their newly remodeled space is absolutely stunning, and Cafe B has a personal touch you won't find anywhere else. Their in-house diamond expert makes it easy to find the perfect piece for any occasion, and that purple bag is still undefeated when it comes to saving the day. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry. It's more than jewelry. It's your story.
When you're looking for tough, reliable equipment for people you trust, WT Equipment delivers. WT Equipment is a local, family-owned dealership with 8 locations across Arkansas, and they've built their reputation by carrying the brands you know and depend on. From Bobcat to New Holland, Hustler, and Steel, they have the equipment and implements to get the job done right. Whether you're tackling a big job or everyday work, WT Equipment offers a full lineup of Bobcat machines built for power and performance, including compact track loaders, skid steers, excavators, and more. Their lots are packed and ready to move with special deals you don't want to miss. Bobcat is the industry leader, tough, reliable, and built to handle any job you throw at it. Nobody does light construction or hay and forage better than WT Equipment. Backed by trusted service and support long after the sale. Stop by your nearest WT Equipment location today or log on to WTEquip.com. Tools you trust and people you know.
Previously heard on the Chuck and Bo Show.
I heard someone say the other day that, the model in professional sports is like basically for every dollar you bring in, when you break it all down, you get through all the expenses, every dollar you bring in, the players are going to get between 45 and 50% of that dollar, all right? In college, it's more like about 25 to 30%. The difference is the size of the staffs, and I'm not talking about the coaching staffs. I'm talking about go to a professional operation. I'm not talking about like the Dallas Cowboys. I'm talking about your average professional sports operation. Front office wise, the people you don't see, it's pretty lean and mean. I mean, it really is. There are 2 people, there's one person doing 2 people's jobs in some of these organizations. Not all of them, but some of them. In college sports, just the people working working in the building. The numbers just dwarf the people that work for professional sports organizations. And all those people have to be paid. And so there is much more of a financial burden on a college athletic department. But when you hear stories like that, like you were talking about, the average Arkansan will never set foot on a private plane. The average Arkansan, when they,
average American,
when they go to Smashburger, it's not $600 and it's not being DoorDash. I think sometimes people don't understand when they do these things how it plays. They don't understand how it looks. Maybe, life is, you don't think about that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But every time a story like that comes out, people do notice. I mean, they may not say anything, but they do notice.
It did remind me, the $600 DoorDash of Smashburger did remind me of several teenage girls in a Starbucks order. I mean,
It's just nuts.
I'm just telling you. Careful, dads.
Never miss a moment of the show thanks to the Chuck and Bo Show on Demand, driven by the Fayetteville Auto Park. Stream the podcast version of the show on Spotify or Apple. Just search for the Chuck and Bo Show.
Previously heard on Chuck and Bo.
I put the old Keurig on, hit 10 ounces strong because I gotta have the strong button.
That's true.
And because you're drinking coffee, man, you need to actually
Go all the
drink
way.
coffee.
Go all the way.
Like, when you could see through the coffee, like if you were to put coffee in one of those glass
That's
mugs
just brown
and you
water.
could see through it, that's disgusting.
That's horrible.
I mean, if you could see through a clear coffee mug, through your coffee, you might be a bad person.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I would resist the urge to drink this much.
Stop. I'm done.
You said a lot of good things there.
Well, I don't know if I said one good thing.
I met a guy last night. Love y'all to death, Jeff.
You mind if I share?
I'm looking forward to it.
The show of record for Razorback fans.
Driving my son to school, and first thing he says when we hop in the car, he says, "What's heard on the Chuck and Bo Show?"
It's too early for this kind of conversation. I'm still half asleep.
Here are your hosts, Chuck Barrett and Bo Mattingly.
Well, I think we all know last night that when the football game ended, when Indiana completed a 16-0 season, I think we all knew college football fans all around the country, including right here in Arkansas, would be saying, that's going to be us next year. If they can do it, we can do it. It might take 2 years, like Indiana, but can Indiana sustain this, number one? And can you look at that and say, hey, man, that is the model. And if they can do it, we can do it. And a place like Arkansas, it's like, what do you got to do to get to that point? Obviously, the portal's got something to do with it. But it's just, it's amazing what has happened. And, it was a little closer last night than what a lot of people thought it would be. But it was Indiana still found a way to win the ball game. And we've been talking about that some this morning. If you're just hopping on, Bo's on his way back from the game last night, and he'll be back with us tomorrow. We've had some people call and comment about Eddie. When we were on Friday, we were not on yesterday, partly because it was a holiday, partly because I'm just going to be honest, I was sick. Friday, when we were on the show, I knew what had happened. Bo knew what had happened. In terms of Eddie not being with us anymore, we didn't know exactly anything beyond that, and that's why we didn't say. That's why we didn't comment on it. And obviously, it became a little bit more public knowledge as the day went on, and people did begin to talk about it. We've talked about it some here this morning. I'll tell you what I am happiest about in the aftermath of all this is how people are remembering him with so much fondness because he brought so much joy to their lives. And it's going to be he's one of those people that you will never think about and not smile. And that's a very rare quality. And I hope somehow, some way, he knows that that's the way people are reacting to his passing. It has been a true outpouring. And you only feel that kind of grief for someone if they've touched your life. And it is the magic of this medium, and I believe that. That's why I'm still doing it after all these years. I do believe there is a human element to this medium that AI will never replace. I dare it. It'll never replace it. And I dare it to try. It'll never succeed. And so it was really heartwarming to hear a lot of the responses from people. And if you've got more, we'll certainly entertain those as we move to the final hour today. I do think it's interesting, though, that we're going to hear, because, look, Indiana's the college football story. We are going to hear more and more people. We're trying to do what Indiana's doing. We're trying to follow their model. I know they've gotten a lot of money, and lots of things have come together in a hurry for them. But I just know that all over the country, people are saying, well, that's going to be us. If they can do it, we can do it. And here's the thing. You're not just talking about somebody middle of the pack that, just burst on the scene. Miami winning the national title, for example. If Miami, let's say the situation was reversed, and it was Miami that completed a 16-0 season last year, it would have been a remarkable turnaround. But, they were the U back in the day. And so for them to do that wouldn't have been just like completely out of the norm. This is the worst football program in college football history, at least, at the high level, Indiana. It wasn't like just anybody did it. And so that's what I think gives people hope. And look, maybe some of it's unrealistic hope. I don't know. But I know that is what people are talking about today.
And Chuck, we were talking about transfer class rankings and all that earlier. So I just went back and looked. In 2024, Indiana had the 30th ranked recruiting class or transfer class according to 24/7. It was number 10 according to On3. This year they had the number 25 portal class according to 24/7. And it was number 13 to On3. So maybe we should pay attention to the On3 number more than the 24/7 number, where Arkansas is doing pretty well. But it's not like they were signing the number one transfer class in the country. They were getting the right guys, right? They were getting what they needed. They needed an outstanding quarterback, and they got that. Right? Does Arkansas have that? Man, KJ Jackson looks pretty good, and they've brought in some other quarterback guys. Do they have that moving forward? Indiana's defensive line is really what stood out to me throughout the season and throughout the college football playoff, including last night. The number of times they stuffed Miami on short yardage situations. That defensive line is outstanding. You have to have that to be really, really good. Are these guys that Arkansas is bringing in the portal, can they be that type of good? You've got to have an absolute playmaker at wide receiver. Indiana has that, or had that this year. All good teams, it seems, have that game-changing wide receiver, whether it's a Jamar Chase at LSU, Devontae Smith at Alabama. I'm not saying it has to be quite at that level, but you've got to have that piece. Have the Razorbacks found somebody like that? And then you've got to have some standouts in the defensive backfield, guys who can cover one-on-one. Indiana had that. Miami's receivers were still. Look, the Tony kid from Miami is outstanding as a freshman. He's only going to get better, and he got loose a couple of times.
Yeah, he is.
But Indiana had guys who could cover the top receivers one-on-one in man coverage, and then they would drop back to zone coverage that really confused Carson Beck because they had guys in the defensive backfield who can cover. Those are kind of like the four things that I've kind of noticed, Chuck, with Indiana this season, and just kind of how they've built it. And that seems to be, if you can really be good in those 4 areas, you're going to have a chance to win a lot of games. That's asking a lot. I know.
You're making it sound easy, Bart. You're making it sound simple.
But when I see, when I look at the transfer portal class rankings at On3, and I see where Arkansas is right now and see what they've done, it should give you some hope that this is a program that has increased the talent level, and that maybe they've found something. Look, it's not going to happen overnight, but you've got to give them a chance, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, if Indiana can do it, why not Arkansas?
What was Indiana, 3-9 the year before Signetti got there? I think that's right. They were either 3-9, 2-10. Pretty much the same boat.
Yeah, it'd have been
a
rough for a long time.
Yeah. Cecil's on the line at Fort Smith. Cecil, you're on the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, guys. Eddie, I just heard the news about Eddie, and that's so sad. I always wanted to meet Eddie. We've been calling in for some years, and there's a lot of times I call in and then he called right behind me, or it was just a vice versa thing. But I just really thought I heard him, like I was at, in my shop, and I think it was on Madden Field show, but I could have sworn I heard him.
I would imagine that they might have played something from one of his calls earlier.
Oh, okay.
That's happened on a lot of programs.
Well, yeah, I'll never forget a Hog Delight. I use that sometimes. I copy him, when I call in sometime. But he will be dearly missed, and a lot of people, I'm sure all the Hog listeners know him, and it's just a sad day. Everybody has a day, Chuck. Everybody has a day, man. Let me see what else I want to say before I get off. Hey, I love y'all, man. I listen to y'all every day. I just don't call in sometime. It's
well, you're a working man, Cecil. I mean, you got stuff going on.
Exactly, Chuck. Exactly. Indiana, man, brought tears to my eyes last night because I'm a sports junkie, and I love sports. And I was just happy to see them win the game. The coach was amazing. He called a hell of a game, Chuck. Yeah, guys, he called a hell of a game. And they deserve to win that championship. And I also took Indiana. I definitely took them.
Well,
and,
let's get right down to it.
Yes, they got a really good program. Honestly, Chuck, the last 5 years or so, I know they went 3-9, but before then, I remember them giving Alabama. They played Alabama a few times or so, and they almost won or beat them or something like that. I'm like, Indiana has a pretty good program. Now, that just go to show you anybody can win. You just got to have the right chemistry. You can spend a lot of money in places and it just don't work, but it just don't work sometimes. But it's just the chemistry of it and the coaches and everything fell together. And God is great. Hey, y'all have a blessed day.
All right, Cecil. Thank you. He talked about being a sports junkie. How it brought tears to his eyes last night. I won't go that far, but I will say, if you're a sports junkie, you can't help but feel a lot of genuine emotion. At least for me, for the people in Indiana, and for the people that made the trip, and for the people that paid that average ticket price of $4,200. Average ticket price last night, $4,200. All right, Lane's in Cave City. Lane, you're on the Chuck and Bo Show.
Hey guys, hope y'all's doing okay today.
Thank you. You too.
Quick question, and before I ask it, it's kind of a question of opinion. I'm just a tractor salesman from Northeast Arkansas. If I knew something, they'd have me hired up there coaching the ball team. But when it comes to the basketball team, do you think in the Auburn and the Georgia game, we got out tough? That's one of the problems, that we just ain't got that toughness down inside to when a team hits us in the mouth, we kind of back up a little bit. Now, we've got the best guards, I believe, in the country, but not the toughness we need inside, or am I totally off on that?
Well, I'm not going to say you're totally off. I don't think they're soft. If that's what you're, if that's what you're saying, I think they're going to be particularly when you go on the road. Games are going to be physical. I think tonight's going to be interesting to watch. And, Jimmy brought this up a little bit earlier. Vanderbilt's not or has not been as good a rebounding team. But I'll go back to the Tennessee ball game that opened conference play. Tennessee came into that game plus 15 in rebounding margin. And, the Razorbacks held their own. And so I don't think they're soft. I think that in both the Auburn and the Georgia games, I think Auburn and Georgia were better inside and outside, to be very honest. The Georgia game, I'd like to play Georgia again. I always put it that way. They fell so far behind in the first half. It was just almost mathematically impossible for them to come back and win, even though they darn near pulled it off. Came back and tied it twice, and then just, they didn't have anything left after they'd done all that. But tonight I would expect, I wouldn't expect anybody to walk away from the arena tonight saying that, Arkansas got out-toughed inside. I don't think they're, soft, but certainly in those games. Georgia and Auburn beat them to a lot of basketballs for sure. 877-377-6963. It's 8:17. This is the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
I don't know if anybody else is having fun, but this is a blast for me.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
First Security is about more than great banking. Yes, we provide the financial expertise, digital tools, and everything else you need when you need it. But we also go all in on local support with friendly professionals, plus convenient locations all across the state. Because we believe personal banking is better banking. Visit fsbank.com for details. That's fsbank.com for friendly, local banking with First Security. Bank better. Member FDIC.
Hey folks, Chuck Barrett here, the voice of the Razorbacks. And if you're ready for freedom from glasses or contacts, there's only one name you need to know: McDonald Eye Associates. Whether it's LASIK, clear lens exchange, or advanced cataract surgery, they've got the solution to help you see your best, no matter your age. Doctors Betts and Mangarelli are the real deal, two of the most experienced surgeons anywhere. They've even taken care of my eyes. And now I'm seeing the basketball court crystal clear. I'm so glad I chose McDonald Eye, and you will be too.
Cutting corners is generally a bad idea. And when it comes to roofing, it's real bad. That's why Teamwork Roofing and Construction uses only the best materials, like Malarkey shingles, which perform better, protect longer, and are more sustainable. Residential or commercial. Got a complicated job? They've got the certified crews ready to deliver on time and on budget. You need a roof that's built on quality and powered by Teamwork. Teamwork Roofing and Construction. Log on to teamworkbuilt.com and get a quote today. That's teamworkbuilt.com.
Did you know Chevy of Fayetteville is the #1 volume dealer in Northwest Arkansas? That means nobody sells more cars, trucks, or SUVs than Chevy of Fayetteville. They've been a part of our community for over 25 years. They're supporters of our local schools and the Razorbacks. And they're the best after the sale. An award-winning service and parts department, a waiting area, complimentary loaners. So go see Chris Mark in Denver and the team at Chevy of Fayetteville, inside the Fayetteville Auto Park.
Hey, I'm sorry if this makes too much sense. I am more than happy to hear where I'm off on this.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
The Chuck and Bo Show on Demand is proudly driven by the Fayetteville Auto Park. We've been talking about them for a number of years. The truth is, they've been Northwest Arkansas's premier vehicle dealership for really as long as I can remember. There are lots of reasons for that. Starts with great brands: Honda, Acura, Chevy, Toyota. And then they've got the largest pre-owned selection that you're going to find anywhere. Trusted names. And they're all right here at the Fayetteville Auto Park. But what really separates them is what happens after the sale. You want to know your vehicle can be serviced by people you trust, right where you bought it. And that's exactly what you get at Fayetteville Auto Park. An award-winning service department and an award-winning collision center, all under one roof. It really is your one-stop automobile headquarters. They've been in business for 25 years. That's a long time. Built on trust, relationships, top-tier service. That's how you stay around as long as they have. The Fayetteville Auto Park. Drive with confidence.
Looking for the perfect light beer to kick off the new year? Flight by Yingling raises the bar for light beers. With just 95 calories, you can enjoy the crisp, refreshing taste of a Yingling, but it's a light beer. Grab a Flight at your favorite store or ask your bartender and take your beer game to new heights. It's perfect for the holidays or watching a game. Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
High school sports in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley have never had a bigger stage. I'm Melissa Orange, host of the Varsity Vibe podcast, and every week we'll be bringing you the stories, highlights, and moments that matter most to our communities. Don't miss a beat. Subscribe to our newsletter, check out the Varsity Vibe podcast, and follow us on social media for the latest scores and spotlight features. Get it all at varsityvibearkansas.com.
Hey, thanks for tuning in this morning. Hang out with Bo and me every weekday morning from 6 to 9 live on YouTube or Twitter, or catch up with the podcast version of the show available on Spotify and Apple.
You're going to be there, right?
Maybe.
Well, I'm saving you a seat.
I'm giving it the big maybe.
The hard maybe.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Sterling is on the line in Center Ridge. Let's just head right that way. Sterling, you were on the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks, Chuck. And like everyone else, when I heard about Eddie, it made me kind of sick. It was a bad, death had a sting to it, and I was just lost for words. I'm even lost for him right now, but I always enjoyed his calls. He's one of the few calls that his best calls are before games and after wins. In the sports talk world, the best rants are when you're upset or when your team losing and you're frustrated, But Eddie, his best was during good times, and that's what I remember most. And I love
that is what you remember. That is what you remember, and I appreciate you bringing that up. That's true.
And Cecil, I love his calls, but I don't remember any time in Indiana being much good. I don't know.
Well, when he said that, I thought, Cecil, I don't know, man. I mean, you're a pretty smart guy, but I don't really remember when Indiana was a good, really good.
This was not a team that was. You pointed it out earlier. This was not a team that was on the upswing, and they won 4 games, and they won 5 games, 6 games, 7 games, and 8 games, and you can feel the momentum coming. This is not that. This is not that at all. This is out of nowhere. Pignetti did it. He gets all the credit, and the administration, everything they've done, the players, they get all the credit. The only thing that comes close to this is when Bill Snyder went to Kansas State, and he had them on the brink in '98 of winning the title, but Michael Bishop was his quarterback, and they got upset by Texas A&M in the Big 12 championship, and they would have played for a national title. And Kansas State, as we know, they was one of the worst programs of all time in college football history until Bill Snyder got there. And if you look at the years without Bill Snyder and with Bill Snyder, it's pretty much like Indiana. And I would think before he got there, Bill Snyder got there, probably them in Indiana fighting for that spot of the most losses of all time. But that's the only thing that comes close to this. In all the sports, I think that overseas there's a soccer team that about got demoted. They won those champion leagues something and they end up winning a championship or something. But I don't follow that closely to be precise. Matt Jones probably can tell you. But this is
he
amazing.
Could, I can't. He could, but I can't.
But this is amazing what they have done there. And to be quite frank, I started out cheering for Indiana, but then I kind of switched teams toward the end on that final drive. I started getting jealous of Indiana. I'm going to be honest with you both. Chuck. I'm just going to be honest. I got a little jealous. But why can't that be us? Why couldn't we hire Cincinnati?
But you didn't ever really believe. Did you ever believe Carson Beck was going to lead him down the field?
No, I was just hoping. I didn't believe it.
Me too.
But congrats to them. And the only bad thing about this, Chuck, I have resigned myself to believe that we can't win a national title I have come to peace with it that I'm not going to see that in my lifetime. And then here comes freaking Indiana.
They just messed it all up for you. Now you're back to stressing out and trying to figure out how they can do it, wondering why they haven't.
Right. Exactly. Great job, guys, and y'all have a great day. And
all right.
Tell Bo we praying traveling grace for him to get back home.
Right. Thank you. Bo will be back tomorrow. He's been in Miami with ESPN, and man, I'm sure they had a big time. And so we'll hear about that tomorrow. And here's the thing that I wonder. Everyone is saying, and I understand, if Indiana can do it, we can do it too. Is that really true? Or has Indiana simply hired the next Nick Saban? Is Curt Cignetti the best in the business? Is Curt Cignetti doing something other people can't do? Does he have a magic that others don't have? Now, I think some of those answers are yes, just for the record. I'm not saying all of them. But can you replicate what they've done? Can just anybody do it?
I don't know. I truly don't. I mean, what he's done, Chuck, is nothing short of one of the greatest stories in sports history. One of the greatest underdog stories, if you will. Right up there with, you name them off, whatever you want. Hoosiers, Miracle on Ice, like whatever. Like it's an incredible story. To give just some quick perspective, Indiana's now finished inside the top 10 for 2 straight years under Curt Cignetti. Okay, the last time they did that, not counting the COVID year, or the last time they finished inside the top 20, not counting the COVID year, you have to go back to 1979 when they finished 16th in the country and won the Holiday Bowl. The coach of that Indiana team, Lee Corso.
That was 79?
1979.
See, that's what Cecil was thinking of. me and Cecil are about. I may be older than Cecil. In '79, I was a teenager. I'd be lying if I said I remembered it though. Yeah.
Look, this has been a really, really awful football program. They have, the second worst winning percentage in the history of the sport among Power 4 conference teams. Like that, and they just won the national championship. It's incredible.
Perfect in doing so.
Right.
I saw some graphic last night. I don't know if this is. I think the 16-0 in football and that perfect season they had in basketball under Bobby Knight. They had those. They were comparing them in some form or fashion. It was maybe the last 16-0 team or something. I don't know, but that is pretty remarkable. When you think about going 16-0, I don't care. It was like Tom Hart was talking about a team, shooting a certain percentage against chairs. Even against chairs, that's not easy to do. Going 16-0, it's why the Dolphins' record has stayed intact for all these years in the NFL. It's why you don't see 16-0 teams until now. Or even teams that are undefeated that often anymore. To do that, to win them all, number one, not easy, but to do it 16 straight times. Because, again, Indiana was good last year. It's not like they just burst on the scene this season. They've had a target on their backs, and they've been identified as a good football team from the first game this season back in late August. A long time has passed since the season opener. You think about how much time has passed since the season opener. And they've won every single game. They didn't just win the national championship. Last night was as close a game as they played in a long time. I mean, it really was.
That's right.
I mean, that was a close game. That was a nail biter compared to what they've been, to what they've been going through. So, give them credit. I mean, it was an incredible thing to watch. All right, we got basketball tonight. We'll get back into that when we continue. 877-377-6963. 8:31, as a matter of fact. This is the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
Chuck has a little bit of a bad habit of getting on Facebook and buying things.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Oaklawn is here for when you want the ultimate escape, all in one place. Check into the luxury hotel. Escape to Astral Spa, the only Forbes 4-star rated spa in Arkansas. Indulge at award-winning restaurants like the Bugler or the Oak Room and Bar, all before having the time of your life at the 24/7 smoke-free casino, where the energy goes all night. Here, excitement and luxury meet under one roof. Oaklawn Hot Springs. Join the fun. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, it's Bo, and it seems like every day somebody else is asking me about the Sweatnum Edge. It's real. It's a new me. It can be a new you. It's completely changed my energy level and my exercise gains. My mind's clearer. I sleep better. Life's just more enjoyable. If you get drained in the afternoon, or maybe you just can't shake that weight, do what I did. Take the Sweatnum Edge. It's a free consultation. You get your results, and they'll give you a game plan. Just search the Sweatnum Edge or log on to SweatnumCosmetic.com. Kids, there's never a good deal good enough with a bad person. Still a bad deal.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Ryan Silverfield has my attention.
Oh, yeah? Well, okay.
Has my attention.
Okay.
Is this like the seal of approval?
Look at that.
Well,
Are we moving closer to the Bart seal of approval?
The man hasn't coached a game yet here.
Yeah.
But he has your attention.
He has my attention for what he's doing in the transfer portal. When
y'all better put him in the Heisman.
Sure.
Pay attention.
Look, when you see these initial transfer portal rankings, you expect them to change pretty rapidly over the course of the portal period as some of the big dogs in the sport, get after it and start signing players and everything. But when you look at what Arkansas has done in the portal, they've been hanging around the top 10 this entire time in terms of portal class rankings. 10th right now in the country, according to 24/7 Sports. 11th via On3. They're doing a great job in the portal, but what, at least it appears that way, right? We have no idea how these guys are going to play at Arkansas, right? But it appears that things are going well. Here's what caught my attention yesterday. Maryland transfer corner Lakai Rowland signed with Arkansas. Starter at Maryland, had a good year as the starter at Maryland. They're, you could say their best player in the defensive backfield. That alone is, eye-grabbing. And a starter from a Power 4 conference school. He visited Ohio State, right? And Ohio State fans were really pissed off that they didn't get this guy. And that he came to Arkansas.
At First Security Bank, banking isn't one size fits all. It's personal because everyone's financial journey looks a little different. From managing day-to-day spending, to running a small business, to helping your kids learn more smart money habits, or taking that big step toward buying a home. At First Security, you get the services you expect, the technology you need, and the real support of local people who live here, know the community, and take the time to understand what you're trying to accomplish. Life moves fast, and having a bank that moves with you makes a difference. Whether you prefer stopping by a branch, banking on the app, or picking up the phone to talk with someone who actually knows your name, First Security is there. They offer smart tools like mobile banking, bill pay, and mobile check deposit, along with thoughtful solutions like flex banking for kids, checking built for small businesses, and local mortgage lenders who guide you through the home buying process. Choose the power of personal. Bank better at First Security. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Oaklawn in Hot Springs is where excitement, luxury, and nonstop action come together, all in one unforgettable destination. The Oaklawn Casino Resort features a 24/7 smoke-free casino with more than 1,500 slot machines, plus blackjack, craps, roulette, along with great dining, live entertainment, and energy that goes all night. When it comes time to relax, check into the luxury hotel, enjoy award-winning restaurants like the Bugler, and unwind at the Astral Spa, Arkansas's only Forbes 4-star rated spa. And it's the perfect escape with Hot Springs National Park and beautiful scenic lakes just minutes away. And for sports fans, Oaklawn Sportsbook keeps the action going year-round. Bet on football, basketball, baseball, golf, and more. Even international sports with easy deposits and withdrawals all through America's best sports betting app. Oaklawn is your Hot Springs escape. Plan your visit today at oaklawn.com. The Chuck and Bo Show on Demand is driven by the Fayetteville Auto Park, with full replays available on YouTube and Twitter, or catch up on all 3 hours with a podcast version on Spotify and Apple. Just search The Chuck and Bo Show.
Get up. You got to get up. You got to go. You're going to feel worse if you don't. Feel better now.
I don't know about
Hate
that.
it later.
You might feel better staying in bed.
You will. You will.
That's an embellishment. You might feel better staying in bed.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I don't know how many people know that Vanderbilt has won the last 2 times they've come to Bud Walton Arena. I was looking at the note package that they send out. I guess I ought to do that given the fact of the games tonight. Hey man, it's been a rough couple of days. Yeah. But at any rate, Vanderbilt won here in 2024, 85-82, and they won here in 2022, 75-74. Arkansas is 15-5, 16-5 overall in Fayetteville against these guys over the years, but the last 2 times they've been here, they've won. Now, Arkansas has won 2 straight in the series. One of them was at the conference tournament, and one of them was over at Memorial Gymnasium. So, this has been a series, interestingly enough, where home floor advantage has not necessarily meant everything. We had a caller a little bit earlier, I think it was Lane in Cave City, that was talking about inside play, toughness, things like that. Arkansas out-rebounded Georgia. They were +8 on the boards, and Calipari over the years, losing a game when his team out-rebounds the other team does not happen very often. I think they're 10-2 right now in games at Arkansas when they out-rebound the opponent and lose. That generally does not happen. I do think a lot of that had to do with the fact that it just got out of hand so quickly in the first half that by the time everything kind of evened out and you got a real reflection of what the 2 teams were like, Arkansas was so far behind at that point that they were just playing catch-up the rest of the game. But I think Arkansas will do well on the glass tonight. But, again, when you look at what's happened in this series, there's no guarantee.
That's right. And, I struggle sometimes with the idea that Arkansas isn't tough enough on the inside.
See, I don't believe that.
Yeah, I don't really believe that either. Look, it's a basketball defense in basketball is a team effort, just like it is in football, right? And if one part breaks down, if there's a breakdown in one area, it might make another area look worse than it actually is. What I mean is, perimeter defense matters too. And when a guard for Arkansas or a perimeter defender for the Razorbacks, when their man gets by them and a big has to slide over to help, it can lead to an easy basket, right? If the defense doesn't rotate properly, if nobody picks up the man, the big had to leave, all that sort of stuff, it all works together. It starts, though, at the perimeter. It starts on the outside. And Arkansas's got to play better perimeter defense and not let guys by them, not let guys get into the lane, not force Trevin Brazile, Nick Pringle, Malik Ewan to come off their guy to help and leave the backside wide open for either a rebound or an easy, an easy dish for a layup or a dunk or anything like that. That's what's got to happen, and that's got to start tonight. I think the Razorbacks have found some things on the perimeter that have worked defensively in terms of lineups and mixing and matching guys. I'll be really interested to see what rotations Cal rolls out tonight to see just kind of how this thing is coming together. It's a work in progress. It always is. Just halfway through the season, a lot of basketball left to play. And I think Cal's starting to figure out.
What's your favorite lineup? What's your favorite five on the floor?
Right now, it'd be Acuff, Thomas, Richmond, Brazile, and Pringle.
Yeah.
Because I think that group just gets after it defensively. It's not the best group offensively, but you still have enough weapons out there. Anytime Acuff's out there, but then Thomas and Brazile as well. Like that I think is the grittiest lineup that the Razorbacks have right now. That doesn't mean that won't change, but that's the group that I like to see out there the most.
I'll tell you what Vanderbilt's pretty good at. They're pretty good at defending what Arkansas is very good at doing offensively, and that's shooting three-pointers. Razorbacks over 38% as a team beyond the arc. Tops in the league, last time I looked, 16th in the country. Vanderbilt only allows their opponents to make about 28% of their three-pointers. They're among the nation's leaders in that department. That'll be an interesting. It'll be interesting to watch those numbers tonight.
Yeah, for sure. One of the Vanderbilt, their opponents only get 28% of their points for a game from three. That's like in the 300s nationally. So they don't let you shoot well from three, and you don't get a lot of points from three. On the flip side, though, how much is this? 26% of opponents' points come from the free throw line. That's the 9th highest
they foul
rate in
a lot.
the country. They foul a lot, and against an Arkansas team that likes to get to the free throw line. That's a recipe for disaster for the Commodores tonight.
Well, they Edward, you still have that cut that we played a little bit earlier today. I'm
Yes.
remote today, and so I'm not in the studio, and that's why we're sound a little rudimentary here. Can you play that about?
Yes.
One thing I'm going to tell you about Vandy, they're fun to watch. I'm not sure they'll be fun to coach against. They are fun to watch. And I'm going to tell you what else. They play as physical, body-to-body as any team in our league. They played Alabama. You ready? 60 fouls were called in the game. Should have been 90, but 60 were called. So what I'm saying is if you're not ready to come into the bump and grind of this game, you're not winning. All right, who's the next team? Because that's what this comes down to. And I'm saying to the guys, yeah, it's us, but it's also you and the guy you're playing against. But it's gonna be cold. It's late, and we need you in those seats.
Yeah, it is going to be late. It is going to be cold, and but I'm with you. If Arkansas spends the evening at the foul line, I think Arkansas's got a real chance to win the ball game. And that is the one area, as you just pointed out, where Vanderbilt might help you out a little bit.
Don't let Doug Shows into the building tonight.
I don't know who's calling tonight. I haven't seen the lineup tonight. I was looking at the other part of the SEC schedule this evening, and Florida hosts LSU tonight. Jimmy Dykes said earlier that Florida was kind of emerging as maybe the best team in the league, or at least the one that's flexing right now. I think there's going to be such an ebb and a flow to this season. I do think there will be ultimately 4, maybe 5 teams that will separate themselves from the rest of the league in terms of, one of these teams is going to win the conference and another one may win the conference tournament, and all of them have the ability to get to the Sweet 16. I think there's going to be 4 or 5 teams like that in the league, and Florida, I suspect, will be one of them. I think Arkansas will be one of them too. I don't think LSU will be. They play in Gainesville tonight. South Carolina plays at Oklahoma tonight. Oklahoma needs to go on the road and win a game. Both these teams are 1-4. South Carolina is as miserable as they were in that game in Fayetteville. They've been okay at home. That team that, they were ready to leave at halftime when they came to Fayetteville, but that's also the team that played Georgia within 5. Now, Georgia won the game, but South Carolina played them within 5 at home. Missouri hosts Georgia tonight. Georgia survived. They won a game against Arkansas they had to win, but they lost to midweek at home last week. So they got to make up for that on the road. Can they do that at Mizzou tonight? And Auburn and Ole Miss play tonight in Oxford. Auburn beat Arkansas, but Auburn's still sub 500 in conference play. And so, I think they're in danger of dropping to 2-4 in conference play if they don't win tonight. So every game's big. It's just that way. That's what makes it fun. But it is going to be cold. It is going to be late. Cal's right about that, and I do hope we have a good crowd tonight. All right, still time for your call, 877-377-6963. This is the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning. Well, I've got a lot more rhythm than people realize.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Looking for the perfect light beer to kick off the new year? Flight by Yuengling raises the bar for light beers. With just 95 calories, you can enjoy the crisp, refreshing taste of a Yuengling, but it's a light beer. Grab a Flight at your favorite store or ask your bartender and take your beer game to new heights. It's perfect for the holidays or watching a game. Flight by Yuengling, the next generation of light beer. Are you looking for tough, reliable equipment from people you can trust? WT Equipment is your local family-owned dealership with 8 locations across Arkansas. And yep, they're big-time hog fans too. From Bobcat to New Holland, Hustler, Steel, and more, they carry the brands you know and trust to get the job done. Whether it's equipment or implements, WT Equipment has the tools you need, including a full lineup of Bobcat machines built for power and performance. Stop by your nearest WT Equipment today.
Some moments call for more than just a win. They call for unforgettable. At Blakeman's, you're not just buying a diamond. You're creating an experience that starts the moment you walk through the door. Their newly remodeled space is absolutely stunning, and Cafe B has a personal touch you won't find anywhere else. Their in-house diamond expert makes it easy to find the perfect piece for any occasion, and that purple bag, still undefeated when it comes to saving the day. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry. It's more than jewelry. It's your story.
If you're having issues with your gutters or drainage around the house, you need to call Hog Trough Gutters. They're locally owned and operated with over 30 years of experience. Seamless gutters made on site, trenching and French drains. Plus, they're fully licensed and insured, and every job comes with a 20-year guarantee. Hog Trough Gutters services all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Log on to their website, hoggutters.com, to find out more. That's hog, GUTTERS.com. There's no better shopping experience than you're going to find at Macadoodles or at Guess Who in Bentonville. And every Wednesday is Wine Down Wednesday. 15% off every bottle of wine in the store, even if it's already on sale. But when it comes to selection, amazing prices, and unbeatable customer service, Macadoodles and Guess Who in Bentonville is second to none. Wine, beer, and spirits. Stock up for your next party, or just stop by and grab your favorite. Macadoodles, just north of Bella Vista, and Guess Who in Bentonville.
High school sports in Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley have never had a bigger stage. I'm Alyssa Orange, host of the Varsity Vibe podcast, and every week we'll be bringing you the stories, highlights, and moments that matter most to our communities. Don't miss a beat. Subscribe to our newsletter, check out the Varsity Vibe podcast, and follow us on social media for the latest scores and spotlight features. Get it all at varsityvibearkansas.com.
Hold on, guys. I'm on the Chuck and Bo Show. Hold on.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Hey, if you're thinking about buying or selling a home, now more than ever, It's important to partner with a well-trained real estate professional, someone who understands all the ins and outs of the game and makes sense of all the things we read about in the real estate market every day. That's why I've partnered with Weichert Realtors, the Griffin Company, from the very beginning. And that's why I recommend them to you. I remember the first time I bought a home. I didn't have any idea what was going on. They did, fortunately, and they guided me through the process. They listened, and perhaps that's the most important thing. You want someone on your side of the table who understands your needs and who listens. Now, they've got offices in Northwest Arkansas. They're in Fayetteville and Bentonville. They're in the River Valley as well in Fort Smith. You hear us talking about their office in Branson. You're going to see their yellow signs all over town, and you can log on to WeichertGriffin.com. Weichert Realtors, the Griffin Company, turning houses into homes since 1978.
When it comes to any kind of construction, you need to know and be able to depend on who you're dealing with. When it comes to your roof or a remodel, Teamwork Roofing and Construction builds everything using only the best materials, including Malarkey shingles that perform better, protect longer, and are more sustainable. Your roof is more than just shingles. It protects your home, your business, and everything inside, residential or commercial, simple or complex. Teamwork Roofing and Construction has the certified crews ready to deliver on time and on budget, treating every job like it's their own. They do what they say, show up when they say they will, and when the job's done, it's like they were never there, except for a brand new roof or a remodel. And they now do cabinetry. Get the customer care and reliability you can count on. Visit teamworkbuilt.com. That's teamworkbuilt.com. Teamwork Roofing and Construction. Built on quality, powered by teamwork.
The Chuck and Bo Show on Demand is driven by the Fayetteville Auto Part, with full replays available on YouTube and Twitter, or catch up on all 3 hours with a podcast version on Spotify and Apple. Just search The Chuck and Bo Show.
Who's going to be the first to get a Chuck and Bo tattoo? I mean, I think Chuck might do it.
No. You can have mine. You just get 2 of them.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Yeah, 1 on each arm. All right, gosh, I lost track of time. We're almost done for the day. Alberto Mendoza, Fernando's younger brother, is in the transfer portal. That happened in the wee hours this morning. No surprise there. Indiana signed, is it Josh Hoover, the quarterback at TCU, the number 6, I think, ranked quarterback in the portal, according to ESPN. He is signed with Indiana, so this was not terribly unexpected. The players for Indiana and Miami have until Saturday to enter the portal. They still have the option to do that. All right, we still got time for one more call. Bobby's in Cave Springs. Bobby, you're on the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
Hey, Chuck, you are so right. That's what we're hearing all across the Razorback Nation. If Ole Miss and Indiana, particularly if Indiana can do this, well, why can't we? What's the difference? We're the same type of program. Well, here's the deal. When Indiana and Ole Miss fans were told that they needed to do some things to get competitive nationally, those fans opened their wallets. Arkansas fans, when told they needed to do something, they opened their Twitter account. A lot of the Razorback fans, we've heard it all year. Hey, we've got big companies up there with lots of money. Why aren't they paying? Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that Walmart Spark got on the field and the floor by accident? These companies are putting a lot of money into athletics. Just because you're not hearing about it or seeing them brag about it doesn't mean it's not happening. And just because your team's not winning the national championship doesn't mean that companies in the state are not doing their share. But, it is true. You can look at it and say, hey, we can do it. But it's not just us. It's everybody in the country thinks, okay, well, we can do it. I think we've hired the right guy. I think we have a chance, but everybody else has a chance too.
Bobby, thank you. I'd like to have some time to talk about that, and we'll we'll try to carve out a section or two tomorrow. Part of being aligned is that when you don't win or when things aren't going quite like you want them to go, that you don't automatically look for somebody to blame. I'm not going to blame fans for not giving more money. I'm just not going to do that. It's the program's job to inspire them. All right, we're done for the day. We'll try to do better tomorrow. Talk to you then.
Arkansas's one-stop automotive shop is right around the corner. Fayetteville Auto Park. FayettevilleAutoPark.com. Chevy, Toyota, Honda, Acura, Collision Center, all in one place. And if you're shopping pre-owned, Fayetteville Auto Park has you covered. With so many new cars sold, we always have a great selection of fresh trades. Why settle for anything less than the best? Fayetteville Auto Park, West Showroom Drive.